The meeting of the February 12th, 2025 meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city code has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and facts presented tonight. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence of the alleged violation. The respondent will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses. The board members may question any witness. Comments made by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chairman and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and questions of the city should be directed to the attorney for the city. At this time, I will ask all persons who expect to give testimony tonight to stand and be sworn in by the city clerk.
If you're going to be speaking, please stand right here. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you provide the board tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Just to note, the cases will be taken out of order tonight, out of the order of the agenda tonight to accommodate witnesses and respondents that are present at the meeting. So. All right, next section. Okay. Says there will be a 3-minute time limit imposed on all comments from the public. Appropriate address when appearing before the board is appreciated. Cell phones, please turn off during the meeting. So we're going to do ex parte communications. At this time, I would like the board members, ask the board members if they have had any ex parte communication regarding any matters coming before the Code Enforcement Board this evening. If you've had verbal communications, please disclose the sum and substance of the communications, when and where the communications occurred, and with whom it occurred. If you've received any written communications, please disclose the nature of the communications and provide it to the city clerk to be filed in the record. Start with one. None?
I've had none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
Okay, good with that. Next, we're going to move to approval of the minutes. Minutes of the regular meeting held on January 8th, 2025. Have all board members received the minutes of that meeting?
Yes.
Yes, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. If the minutes are acceptable, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No nays, and motion passes. All right, so I think we're ready to move on to the first case, and we're going to, like I say, we're going to take them out of order. And so the first case will be, we're going to do the unfinished business first, right?
The first case we're going to be hearing this evening is from the unfinished business. This is case number 242968, City versus Spectrum Medical Park, LLC, for the property located at 311 Bullard Parkway A. The deadline for compliance was February 12th, 2025. A fine of $25 per day begins on February 13th, 2025.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to, this was a case that was presented last month by Laurie Smith for exterior walls stained and faded, landscaping maintenance, and the roof shingles were stained and faded as well. The respondent here this evening, I believe, to ask for an extension
Okay,
and an update for the violation.
and have there been any changes, any improvements?
We have noticed some slight changes. but we feel as though that it's not in compliance yet. So we're hoping that they could update us this evening.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. The only.
Please,
Name and address.
Sorry.
need your name and address, please.
My name is Melka Barber, and the address is 341 Bowler Parkway, Temple Terrace, Florida. We have had work done. We had the trees trimmed again. We also had, the roof was just completed last weekend, and the painting has started. It started last weekend because we weren't unable to do it until the roof was done because they use heavy chemicals. So mulch was applied. So far, right now, it's the painting of the two buildings that has been started. So we are asking for an extension, at least 2 to 3 weeks to complete it. We found someone within the budget that's painting, so it's taking a little longer than, when you hire a larger company.
Okay, so there's no permits required for any of this work?
That's correct, no permits required.
Okay, and they have
The city has no problem for a 30-day extension.
Okay, all right, that was my next question, so, okay.
So you think by March 12th, 2025, you'll be done?
That's correct.
So, anybody else have any questions? All right, well, thank you. So I think we'll just have to entertain a motion to,
I'm happy to make a motion to extend this to March 12th, 2025. Seems like you guys have done enough work, so.
I'll second that.
any other further comments or discussion? All right, then we'll take a vote. All in favor of extending this to another 30 days, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No nays? All right, motion passes. So you have another 30 days to get the painting work done, completed. So do you have any questions for me or the board?
Have any questions? They're giving us 30 days to
You might want to remind them if it's not in compliance by March 12th,
Oh,
they need to come back to the board again to ask for an additional extension.
yep. So, yeah, if the work's not, everybody said, if the work's not completed by the next meeting, then please come back and give us an explanation, and then we'll have to have another, it's possible we could give you another extension, no guarantees, but at least come back and let us know what status is, okay?
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing that will slow it will be rain, so we hope we don't have rain, but we are on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're ready to move on to the next unfinished business.
Yes, next case we'll be hearing is case number 24-3477, City versus Hilvano Nava for the property located at 203 Redwood Avenue. The deadline for compliance was February 12, 2025. A fine of $25 per day begins on February 13th, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, this case was a shed permit case that was presented by Mr. Allen. The gentleman that responded came last month to request additional time because he did not obtain the permit in time. And I believe he has an update this evening for me as far as the status of the permit.
And the permit was for,
A shed that was
Shed.
installed in the rear yard.
okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Hi, my name is Silvano Nava. I live at 203 Redwood Avenue. I called yesterday because I knew that the meeting was coming soon, but I didn't know the day. I did not receive the letter informing me as I usually do. When I called yesterday, I couldn't get a hold of permitting, so I went ahead and called code enforcement, and I let them know. I spoke to you, okay, awesome. After I spoke with him, I still did not have a resolution on my permit. And that's about four to 5 months now that we're at this. This morning, I got a call from one of the people in permitting, and she said that there was no information at all on my permitting. And I said, well, I brought all the information. I brought you everything that you asked for, and I have the receipt. So she asked me to come down. I came down here with the receipt for the day that they had everything on their hands. And she said, okay, so she started from there. Anyway, she worked it out until we finally figured out Alan had the paperwork on his desk, and it never got put into the system. So everything, I spoke with Alan, he came out to my house today, checked everything out, and as far as he said, I will be getting the permit. And then other than that, I just have to call for them to check in for the strapping it down. And then after that, we'll be done. I just have to finish it. But as of right now, I do not have a permit, and they just found it this morning, all the paperwork.
Okay, so this is, he's referring to Officer Allen, Doug Allen at Super.
No, I'm not sure.
Oh, Dallas.
Dallas, okay, sorry.
It wasn't Doug Allen, though.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
so
say, it didn't make
The
sense.
city has no problem with an additional 30 days to get this worked out, and I'm sure it'll be in compliance, hopefully by then.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions for the
I'm ready
respondent?
for a motion.
All right, so, yeah, so let's go ahead and have, you can sit down if you'd like. So I think we're done with that. Yeah, looking for a motion.
In case number 243477, I move that the city extend the deadline till March 12, 2025.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All right, so, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, say nay. No nays, the motion passes, so you're,
Thank you, guys.
yeah, you got the 30 days more. So.
Guys, have a good day.
Next case?
Before I do, just real quick, because we have a number of irreparable, irreversible cases this evening, if everyone could check the language that we have in your folders for motions, make sure that it has the irreparable, irreversible violation language.
No.
Okay. If that is the case, then I'm going to hand out this information right now with that language installed.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Oh,
Is that it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Next case will be case number 24-4673, City versus General Realty and Ivco Incorporated for the property located at 5302 East Fowler Avenue. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of section 12. This case will be prosecuted this evening by. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 12-771 tree trimming invasive trees. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This tree case this evening is an irreparable, irreversible violation that originated proactively late afternoon on Friday, November 15th, 2024. Officer Smith inspection revealed tree topping throughout the site. Officer Smith contacted Temple Terrace City Arborist Joe Ferris, who went out on the property on Monday, the 18th of November, 2024. At this time, Mr. Ferris observed 8 oak trees that had been topped on the site. A notice of violation, a notice of hearing was prepared and sent by email to the registered agent of the property. Officer Smith delivered the notice letter to the Assistant Store Manager, Julie Salmon, and also Director Tom Baroni, myself, received an email confirming service of the notice of violation. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by me on November 18th, 2024. At this time, I'd like to submit.
Please submit.
Exhibit number 1 shows a laurel oak, a DBH of 21 inches top, it's cutting. Exhibit number 2 shows a second live oak, DBH 18-inch, 24-inch top cutting, tree topping. Exhibit number 3 shows a cluster of 4 live oaks, DBH 18, 15, 18, 16-inch topping. Exhibit number 4 shows 2 live oaks, DBH 7-inch, 14-inch, it was also topped. Exhibit number 5 shows a live oak, DBH I believe it's 8 inches, topped on the north parking lot. Exhibit number 6 shows a live oak DBH 24 inches on the north parking lot. Exhibit number 7 shows a live oak DBH 10-inch topped cutting on the north parking lot. So I'm going to, you have the pictures up there, I'm going to show you what a tree looks like when it's topped. So Doug, can you bring up those tree toppings? So let's see that. Just to show you what. Escape out of that. Go back up here.
So we have total.
That's what a full canopy tree looks like. And can you roll it down?
Use the down arrow.
And that's what it looks like when it's topped. So it's an improper cut of a tree, and it's in our code that's tree trimming cannot be topped like that or trimmed. And what other? So the city arborist is here tonight to explain about the proper cutting of trees and stuff. But I also want to just advise the board, this had nothing to do with the Hurricane Milton that happened in October. This is not related to the hurricane. Or none of the tree cases that are being presented tonight have nothing to do with Hurricane Milton. Okay? Do you have any questions for me?
You answered the question because I was going to ask you, this looks like, at the first glance, that these limbs were going to fall down because of the hurricane, and then they got cut off. But if you said that they had no relation to the hurricane,
They did not.
Was there a date
satisfied.
that they were cut?
Yes. So the date of the cutting was November 15th.
Okay.
Okay? So the arborist is here, Joe Ferris is here tonight, and he'll explain more to you. Thank you.
Good evening. Joe Ferris, City Arborist. As Tom said, when I got the call to go out there, there were 8 of the trees that were topped, as he showed an example. Topping is prohibited by our code. It's the only form of trimming that is not allowed. Essentially, it's a full removal at that point. So after evaluating those trees, getting the notes, there were, again, 8 of them that were totally topped. I had reached out and spoke with the property manager, had conversations of how to rectify this in terms of mitigation. During the evaluation, I had found 2 other trees that had been improperly cut over the years that I had recommended for removal. There was one additional tree, actually 2 additional trees that had been sort of flattened on one side. So my recommendation was for them to reach out to another certified arborist for a second opinion on whether or not those trees were beyond repair and saving. After that, they evaluated the one that definitely needed to come down, so that was also removed. But the number for the violation today is the 8. I presented the property owner and manager's recommendation for mitigation based on the trees that came down. One of the options, per our code, replacement trees have to be a minimum of 3-inch caliper. So one of their options was to reduce the number of trees that would have to be planted by upsizing trees. So if they went to a 6-inch caliper, they could reduce, so every tree that was 6 inches in caliper was equivalent to 2 3-inch trees. So they ultimately end up planting 11 new sky climber live oaks at that 6-inch, which is equivalent to the 22 that I was looking for mitigation. They were more than willing to do everything it would take to rectify this as far as mitigation. They got the other trees out, planted these, made sure irrigation is going to them. I do have images of what was planted, so I want to hand that out so you can take a look at the trees that were there.
Essentially, the,
Sorry, and the landscape plan also that they resubmitted, so we have on record that as-built. Basically, plan shows the trees that were removed and then the new ones that were planted. Again, they've been more than willing to do anything we were looking for to rectify this situation. So I think in the terms of the 8 trees that we're looking for a fine, the standard is up to $5,000 per tree. But I definitely think you should be taking into consideration what they've done to bring this back to, what it should be. So that should play into your decision on those fines.
so essentially, all the trees that were topped have been removed,
Yes.
and there was a couple of, you said a
And then a
couple of
couple
other trees
additional
that were,
ones that just needed to,
it's all been
Correct.
removed, and they've replaced them with,
much larger, double size of what we require, again, so that reduced what they would have had to plant by upsizing. So it basically double for, like I said, for it was 2 for every 3 inch, so every 2, or every 6 inch, it was equivalent to 2 3-inch.
so from your perspective, other than the fine, the situation's been mitigated.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, yeah, they rectified everything with the mitigation, did an excellent job with it. We were more than willing to take care of the situation and solve the problem. We're very willing to work with the city on anything that we asked for, so.
Yeah, Vice Chair. Just out of curiosity, how long will it take these 6-inch calipers that, you said they replaced them all, okay. How long will it take them to reach the maturity that their predecessors?
It's gonna take some time. I mean, live oaks aren't a very
Yeah.
fast-growing tree, but when you see the size of those, they're probably 12, 15 feet tall, roughly, and pretty good-sized caliper on them. So it's not small trees that went in, they're decent-sized trees to start with.
What could have been done in place of that, in place of topping? What could have been done to trim them to where they're safe for the buildings and people and all that?
It depends, I mean, the proper cut wouldn't have been to remove everything.
Right.
It would have been more selective pruning for, their intent was for any future hurricanes. I mean, all of this happened after all the storms had
Right.
passed. So there are other forms of trimming the tree in the proper way without topping the whole thing. Once you top a tree like that, you basically, the only time you would do that is if you're removing the tree altogether. So,
Is there something they could do ahead of time?
yeah, the proper normal trimming, lifting canopy, any dead weight that's in there, or dead wood that's in the tree,
Okay.
that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
First, what's the percentage of topping, or, I mean, not topping, cutting the tree, if they're gonna prune it, and what's the percentage?
The percentage that before they would have done?
Before, yeah.
It just depends on the canopy of the tree. I mean, you don't really want to do probably more than a third of that canopy at any one time.
So they gotta keep in mind.
I mean, doing what was done will stress the tree out, that puts the tree in total
I
stress.
think the landscapers know that.
I don't know, because I'm not sure who they hired. Clearly, I believe, were hired to do trimming for hurricanes. This is not that. So my guess, and this is just a guess, they don't have an idea what they were, or understand the proper cutting.
We have 8 to look at, and what did you say the number per tree?
Up to 5,000 per tree?
And do we know how much they spend on?
That I don't, but again, I want to stress how much they've been willing to come into compliance to rectify that situation and get the trees back on there that should be there, because they were part of that development originally. So again, that should be a positive weight on your decision.
Some of those questions we can ask, the respondents are here.
Yeah, they're here, so they may be able to answer those type of questions.
Any other questions for the arborist?
Thank you.
Joe, thanks.
So I'm Carter Roundtree. I'm the president of General Realty and Investment Co. Inc. I live in Key Largo, but the property is over on Fowler Avenue, 5302 East Fowler Avenue. We've had a tenant there that is Chick-fil-A for 30 years.
Yes, hi, Dennis Spradlin, Chick-fil-A Temple Terrace, 5302 East Fowler Avenue.
I'd like to say it was obviously a terrible, awful mistake that the trees were topped. That was not intentional. It was a mistake by landscapers. They've never had one violation in 30 years of being our tenant. He's a model tenant. I've never had an issue at all. I feel like his property is always well kept, and it was a mistake that happened, and Dennis went through every single thing. I talked with Ernie, I talked with Joe multiple times. He met with them in person and said exactly what trees do you want removed, what do you want, how big of the caliper do you want, and Dennis has done all of that, found the trees that they wanted. It's all landscaped. If you go, you'll see it. Today I was there. It looks beautiful. All the trees are in, irrigation, landscaping, and he couldn't have been bent back over backwards more for whatever Temple Terrace asked him to do.
Yeah, realistically, it was just a miscommunication. And unfortunately, they did butcher them. There's no disagreement there. But it was all just due to a miscommunication between actually my general manager and the tree person on that part of it. Because it was a cleanup after the hurricane. It was supposed to be a cleanup, not what they did. And, but again, we understand that it needs to look right and presentable right, and that's what we've done. Yeah.
Any questions? I don't have any personally. That seems-
One question.
Yes, sir.
How much did you spend to fix this situation?
Right now, all said and done, which I'd have to separate some of the landscaping and remulching and everything else, but right now I'm a little bit under 26,000.
It's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. But it's the right thing to do.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure.
All right, further questions? Okay, thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. Yes.
So, this is, I guess I have a question of the city and city attorney. Any guidelines? I mean, what would the city want us to, if a fine is imposed, any ballpark number?
Not really ballpark, we're gonna leave that to y'all, but remember, those three things you need to consider: the gravity of the violation, actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, which, there's been testimony they did a lot there, and then, of course, any, previous violations by the violator. So, it's up to 5,000 per tree, but we really want you to factor in all those, everything that was done. Your questions that were asked, I think, were on point, and just come up with a determination per tree, or each tree is a violation, so.
It's just it's a very gray area for me anyway, personally. I just, it's like almost a dartboard number. I mean, I don't really know.
Well, let's.
What have we,
Yeah, the
Okay.
discussion is for after a motion, right? Like,
yeah, can. All right, so,
I have a little discussion.
well, let's do
If they did not do anything,
well,
let's do the motion, let's do the motion first.
do the motion?
Motion first, and then we'll go, and
Who
then,
wants to do the motion?
I'll take the motion.
Take the motion.
In case number 244673, I move the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code on the property located at 5302 East Fowler Avenue, applicable code sections 12-771. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move the violation is irreparable and irreversible, as defined by City Code Section 1-63. Therefore, I move the fine of $250 be imposed for each, can I say $250 total? as opposed to each violation.
I think we have to look at it by the violation, 8 violations.
So $250 total, I don't want to say per tree, so $250 total, not to exceed $5,000 per violation.
How about $25 per tree?
$25 per tree, per violation.
All right. We have a motion. Do we have a
I
second?
second it,
Okay, all right. Now we can get to the discussion part. Okay.
yes.
I just want to say I like how much work they've done after the fact. They've communicated, they've done a lot. I don't want to leave it at 0 personally, but at the same time, they've done a ton, and I respect that. And that's a lot. So,
I mean, I was more up for 0, but 25 per tree, I think is fair, you know? I agree with you in that motion.
All right.
It'd be a different conversation
I
if we
have
weren't so
nothing-
eager to
no-
rectify
Nothing
it.
wrong with that. It's, they spend a lot of money,
they did.
and that's one of good attractions in Temple Terrace, so we want to take care of that.
That's true, that's true.
I was at the
My
property today.
kids-
It looks
my
very
son-
lovely,
favorite, so,
clean,
you know.
absolutely.
Is that all right to say? It's my favorite, one of my favorite.
Well,
Having
you know.
said that, I just need to
Conflict you out.
sure that you can be a fair and impartial decision
I'm
maker
a
and
fair.
just base your decision on the evidence that's here and not
I did
any
not even know
prior
about this
experience.
case, so, you know,
I think my kids eat there twice a week.
yeah.
Okay.
But it was not intentional, so that's the main thing, you know.
Well,
It was
correct.
not intentional, it was miscommunication, and it's after a hurricane too. So, you know, even probably the landscaper did not know what they're doing, so, you know.
And
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, regardless of whether or not it was intentional, what matters is that on the back end, they took sufficient steps
Yes.
to rectify the error, and that's
I
redeeming quality.
They probably spent over close to $30,000, so.
Which I
that's-
didn't want to leave it at 0 to start, but at the same time, I respect everything they've done. And they've been very forthcoming, they've been communicative, they've taken many steps
Yes.
to get this done. So
That's the main thing.
I wanted to get to discussion, so I had to throw a number out. So we can.
Actually, I like the number you threw out.
There we go.
So,
Ready to vote,
are
sir?
we ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No nays. So motion passes. So I think the total fine would be $250, correct? Okay.
No, it should only be 8.
8 times
200.
25,
Well-
right?
We'll do 25 per tree.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
each tree is its own
Okay.
violation, so
Yeah.
25 times 8 is 200.
Oh, okay, well, you said 250, that's why I was.
Oh, yeah, okay, well,
I didn't say anything.
25 per tree. 25 per tree.
There we go.
Total of 200.
Unique territory.
All right.
We're all in favor.
So that went better than I expected. So as far as
Wendy.
violations go. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next case?
Next case is case number 24-4597, City versus Matthew W. and Kelly J. Godwin for the property located at 8608 Beverly Drive. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 12.860 in-ops outdoor storage equipment, Section 10-34 sanitation premises clean, and Section 12-508 accessory structures uses. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Steve Valle. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chairman and board members. Stephen Valley, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated by Fire Chief Michael Hagewood and Director Tom Baroni on October 15th, 2024. After being notified of a fire in the rear yard, which caused the fire department to be dispatched. Their inspection noted a large number of miscellaneous materials, supplies, appliances, and trash debris accumulated throughout the front, the side, and rear yard, as well as a utility trailer unscreened from view in the front yard, as well as 2 storage structures that do not adhere to the city's proper setback requirements, and an outdoor storage refrigerator. Due to the severity of the violations, a notice of violation was prepared. I hand-delivered the notice to Wayne Souther on October 16th, 2024. I was contacted by property owner of record Matthew Godwin on October 28th, 2024, and he explained that his brother Wayne Souther resides at the residence. Mr. Godwin asked if I could communicate with Mr. Souther on bringing the violations into compliance. Contact was made with Mr. Souther at the residence. Based on the removal of the trailer and a notable amount of debris removed, an extension was granted. My reinspection on January 24th, 2025 noted the removal of a shed and some debris accumulation, but the refrigerator storage unit, a shed, and a large amount of miscellaneous materials, supplies, appliances, and trash debris continue to be accumulated throughout the front, side, and rear yard. I would like to submit photo evidence taken by me on January 24th, 2025. Exhibit 1 and 2 show miscellaneous materials and debris throughout the rear yards. Exhibit number 3 shows a shed that has been partially taken down with a large number of items still inside. The site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling.
You may submit. Please. So were any of the violations in compliance, or, because I think there's what,
Yes.
3 here.
The trailer came within compliance, it was removed. And
Which one is, that's the
860
860?
outdoor.
yes, no, the trailer, yeah,
That one's in compliance.
facility trailer.
No, accessory structures uses is 508, the last one.
Oh,
So 2 of them are out of compliance and 1 of them is in compliance?
Correct.
I have,
Let me just clarify something. The trailer was not brought to, that was in compliance prior to the notice of hearing was prepared.
Okay.
So the 3 violations are not the trailer itself,
Gotcha.
or
Yes.
the outdoor storage of equipment, accessory structures, and debris accumulations. There's 3 separate violations.
so they're all still.
All
out of-
still out of compliance?
Yes.
Okay, got you.
The
Okay.
trailer came in compliance prior.
Yes.
to the notice of
Okay,
hearing.
okay.
Okay, all right.
Officer Stephen.
Yes.
Is this visible from the street?
Actually, no, we were actually able to get back there because of the fire. What happened was they had a fire and the fire department was dispatched, and Chief Higwood and Director Baroni were called onto the site, and they were able to get in the rear of the yard and see what these violations.
Was everybody safe? Like, nobody hurt?
Yes,
Okay,
Nobody was hurt.
no one was hurt.
that's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for code compliance officer?
Has there been any change since?
So I have seen him out there throughout my patrols. Yes, just this morning, I went by, he allowed me to go into the rear yard, and I was able to see that he had removed the other storage shed that was back there, but all the debris that was in it, it's still accumulated throughout the entire yard. So he's here, and as well, Mr. Souther's here, as well as his brother and sister.
So are these pictures an accurate representation of kind of what the condition is
Yes,
right now?
yes.
Any other questions? Okay, all right. Thank you, and we're ready for the respondents. Respondent.
I am Wayne Souther, 8608 Beverly Drive. I've lived here about 50 years, and I've accumulated quite a bit of stuff. I had 3 sheds, pretty big sheds that were completely full from front to back, and tore 2 of the sheds down, and I do have the cooler that is emptied out. There's nothing in it, and I'm taking that one down now. And I'm just trying to find somewhere to put all the stuff I've got. I've got tools and right now I have thousands of dollars worth of tools sitting out in weather because I have to take every shed down on my property. So I'm working on it. I'm doing the best I can with it. I've been working on it daily, day and night, and I'm trying to get there. It's just overwhelming, all the stuff that I have, you know. And like I said, every shed had to be tore down, and they were all completely full, and so that's where I'm at right now.
So do you still feel like there's a fire hazard as far as,
Well, I've already taken probably 10 truckloads out and got rid of it, but a lot of the stuff that I have like table saws, chop saws, pressure washers, just tools that I use for my work, is all over the yard. It's everywhere. Could it be a fire hazard? Possibly, yes. But I had a fire pit at my house, and I no longer am burning fires there since we had a fire that caught some of my extension cords on fire and caught the fence on fire. But I had the fire put out, regardless, I had the fire put out before the fire department got there, but it was, yeah, it was a mess.
So how long do you think, no, that's a question, that's the question. Well, I'll let you ask the question.
How long do you think you can clean up this yard?
Well, I'd like to, if I could get 30 days, because I do have to still work and pay the bills, and I'm the only one doing it. I'm doing it by myself. So if I could get 30 days, I believe I could have it taken care of. Like I said, I only have one more shed to take down, and that's all. It's completely empty. Everything's emptied out of it. I just got to take it down. It's a walk-in cooler that I put and made a shed out of it. It's a freezer, walk-in freezer, and that's what I'm taking down now, and that's the last one I have to take down, and just try to find somewhere to put all my stuff. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a storage shed or if I could get with the city and find out what I can build, because it was what I built was up against the property line. I mean, I've had them there for years and years. So I just need to find out what I can do legally to where I can keep my stuff, you know, and have somewhere to put it.
In the past, I think you found some people that can maybe help him. And I don't know if I can't recall exactly, but some people refuse the help, and some people will take it. Yeah, like the Boy Scouts.
Volunteer groups that we get, sir, are really for overgrown vegetation, overgrown grass, financial hardships, senior citizens. I don't think he fits the criteria for a volunteer group. And the stuff that he has in the yard is valuable stuff, what he's describing. So I think that he needs to take care of the matter himself.
Okay, and do you think in 30 days, if we give him 30 days, he'll be done, or?
I'll just say the city has no problem granting 30 days.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear what the brother and sister also have to say also.
Okay.
Before I acknowledge that, so.
Okay.
Do you mind just shedding a little bit more light on this?
And say your names for the record, please.
That's right. My name's Matthew Godwin. I'm referring to the address, 8608 Beverly Drive. We grew up at the house. My mother passed away in May of '23, and then my older brother, Wayne Souther, has been living there ever since. I live in Dade City, and the house is basically, we inherited the house after my mother's passing. And so he's been living there, and it's really deteriorated since '23. And I haven't personally been to the property since November of '23. So it's a shame. I mean, it's disheartening that my name's on it. Let's put it that way. I'll say that.
You think you can help him?
Probably not. Probably not.
Because of the distance and work and all that?
Yeah, yes. My occupation, I work too many hours. It's impossible. It's impossible. The distance is, there's a lot of factors that is just too much to express right here in this room, but I could try, but the communication process isn't there, so it's very difficult. When I try, I can't. It's difficult to communicate with him because he doesn't have a phone, and I have to contact other relatives, and then they don't respond back to me, and I'm the only one with other ways of communication, and I can't just drive to Temple Terrace in the hopes that I find someone at the house to help. So
you own the house, though, right?
yes, sir. Well, yes, sir. With the three of us, we own the house. My mother left it in our names. Yes.
And the relationship. I probably missed it. Okay, it's your brother.
Siblings.
Okay, I got you. Okay, sorry.
Brother and sister, right?
Yes.
So
It's a very difficult situation, and I don't really have an answer for you, honestly. I mean, this should have been done a long time ago. We've tried to speak with him regardless, but there's always something. There's always something, something there that can't ever seem to get it accomplished.
The city would be concerned for his safety too, on that, and as Tom mentioned, he's got valuable stuff according to what he's mentioning. So, you know,
Lots of construction equipment.
Well, after the fire, is the house safe?
Yes, the fire that he's referring to is a fire pit out in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's referring to.
The structure secure, he can store things inside the house if necessary.
Yes.
Okay.
I assume.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it's not like a place where it's unsafe for people to live or.
No, it's not unsafe.
Okay.
And have you, Tom, have you had any complaints from citizen complaints, of neighbor complaints of the property?
I had one complaint. I'd rather not elaborate, but I just had one complaint. The day of the fire, just so you know, there's another case that's going to be presented tonight for the same location. They didn't have utilities, so they had no water, no sewer, or no garbage account. So I'm thinking if they had a water account, they may have been able to extinguish that fire that was in the rear yard. And due to not having the water account or water, they weren't able to extinguish it.
Okay. All right. Any
But the city has no problem granting 30 days. I believe this is the first time they're here in front of the code board. I have no problem granting 30 days.
Yeah, you don't consider that the fire hazard isn't, it sounds like it was a fire pit, so.
It's a fire pit.
Yeah, it's not, there's not
The fence
really.
caught on fire, but the structure itself is okay.
Okay,
But there's no like pools or anything
No
that.
pool.
Okay.
yeah, there's no flammable materials there that could spontaneously catch on fire or whatever.
I'm not aware of any. I was there with Chief Hegwood that day. We didn't see anything flammable.
Okay, all right.
I wanted to ask the one who lives there, and again, you know, I know the 30 days, but do you have a job?
Yes, sir. I work for myself and do odd construction jobs, but I haven't been working in the past week and a half. I've just been steadily staying there, just trying to get this stuff right. Yeah, I haven't worked at all for about a week and a half now, which I need to work because I still have to pay the bills. But I can get it done in 30 days.
Okay,
That's fair.
all right, thank you, that's it.
And just to add, I was having a problem with the water because after my mother had passed, I took my
We'll get
name.
to that case.
Yeah, that's the next,
That's-
that'll be the next.
That'll be a different.
Oh, okay,
case, so.
okay.
All right, so, any further questions for the? Yeah, you can have a seat. All right, so if there aren't any further questions for anybody, we,
To the homeowner, would you remind me,
There all are.
well, the gentleman in the black, what's your action plan again to remedy this in 30 days?
I have to tear
you
the
can get,
wall.
yeah, just so they
One
can.
more shed down that I have, and it's just to find somewhere where I can put all my stuff that I have, all my tools and everything. I would like to build something there to put something on, but like, I'm not sure, we're gonna be selling the house. So I might just take everything somewhere else, all my tools that's worth money. I try to keep them close by me because there is a lot of money there and I don't wanna lose my stuff. But, I just gotta find a place to put my tools and stuff is the main thing. That's pretty much all that's left is tools. And there is some trash still there that I'm getting out of the sheds when I'm going through the boxes and taking everything that I'm gonna keep, you know, and the rest of the stuff I've been just throwing away and taking to the scrapyard. It was overwhelming how much stuff I had. It really was. It was totally overwhelming. But I can be in compliance within 30 days. I can get it right.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, all right. Thanks. You can be seated again, so. All right, so now I'm just looking for a finding.
I'll do it.
Okay.
In case number 244597, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence, the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 8608 Beverly Drive, with the applicable code violation, Section 12-860 and Section 1034 and Section 12508. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer and along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation, of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before March 12, 2025. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before the day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continue past the date set for compliance upon the considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator. I move that the fine be $50 per day.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on this particular?
So no extension then, where we're having a
Well, no,
finding?
He gets to 30 days.
He gets to
Okay.
30 days, and there's three different violations. So 50 is kind of light, because normally we do 25 per.
Per, yeah, that is,
So
that is
he's-
fair, you are
he's-
correct.
But I tried to be fair for him and, hopefully he'll work hard.
Well, and there's family involved, and understand all of that, so.
Okay.
I think 30 days is reasonable too, because I think in this case, I think we want to be on top of this and monitor.
And he insisted he should be done
Progress.
in 30 days, so, I
Okay.
kind of like give him the good faith.
All right, we ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? No nays, the motion passes. So just so you understand, it's a $50 a day fine, but it won't go into effect until 30 days from now, from today, or March 2nd, March 12th, excuse me. So you have 30 days to get this problem resolved. If you are unable to get the problem fixed before the next meeting, you're welcome to come back up here and give us a status and tell us why you weren't able to complete the, removing just getting the items taken care of. So there's no guarantee that we'll approve it, but you can come back up and ask and just ask for another extension. Okay? Yes, sir. Right, thanks. I think we're done with that one, so next case.
Next case will be case number 24-4950, City versus Matthew W. and Kelly J. Godwin for the property located at 8608 Beverly Drive. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 22-91, City Garbage Service Required, Section 8-1022 MH hot and cold water, and Section 8-1021 MH sanitary facilities. Case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Stephen Valle. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Right, good evening, Mr. Vice Chairman and board members, Stephen Valley Code Compliance Officer. This case this evening originated by Director Tom Baroni on December 31st, 2024, when he advised me that the structure was occupied without required water, sewer, and garbage accounts, as well as two inoperative vehicles that have no tags in the front yard. Based on the case history of this property, a notice of violation was generated with the date of January 24th, 2025. I posted the notice letter at the front gate and requested copies to be sent out certified in first-class mail. I also requested a copy to be posted at the electronic board at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My inspection on January 24th, 2025 noted that the vehicles have been removed off the property, but the utility accounts were still showing delinquent. I would like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on December 31st, 2024. Exhibit 1 shows the posting of the notice violation. Also, as of February 3rd, 2025, the utility account has been activated. Therefore, I would like to submit an affidavit of compliance for the utility account.
Which one is the utility account? That's the,
Excuse me?
All three of them.
All three of them.
all three of them?
Oh,
Okay,
so it's all-
okay.
all good.
Water, sewer, and.
Okay, all right.
Boom.
Okay, boom.
All right.
Awesome.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, please submit.
right, well, if it's a complied violation, I guess we can just go ahead and.
Well, unless you have questions for code enforcement officer, or if the respondents would like to. Okay, absolutely. Okay,
It's the same property, right?
right, exactly.
The water and stuff got turned off, and I signed my name off the house to my brother and sister for for other reasons. But when I took my name off the house, I went to the city. The city would not turn on the water and the the water and the sewage. So the man that lives behind me, his house is empty. I hooked his water up to my water, and I've been paying that bill ever since. I didn't get sewage because, garbage because it was at my address. And I ran a pipe from his place to my place, which I was paying for it through the city. The account, I believe, is still open. I still have that account open, but he needs to close that. But the city wouldn't give me water because my name was not on the paperwork anymore, and I didn't have a lease. And the city said, we can't turn it on for you. That's how that happened. So finally, I got that straight. But I have had sewage, I have had water, I've had that the whole time. It's just I had it through the property next door to me because the city wouldn't turn it on.
Okay.
But everything is on now and
Yes, it's been on, yes.
Okay. Okay.
easy enough.
All right, well, thank you. Thanks for your explanation.
So this is in compliance. The three violations in compliance.
Yeah, all three are in compliance. So we're looking for a finding?
All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, in case number 24-4950, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code did exist on the property located at 8608 Beverly Drive. Section 22-91, Section 8-1022, and Section 8-102, subsection 1. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from code enforcement, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on this? So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? No nays? Motion passes. So,
Thank you.
yeah, sure.
Get it taken care of.
All right, thanks. Next case?
Next case is case number 24-4789, City versus Temple Terrace Village Incorporated for the property located at 10910 North 56th Street. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 12-768A1, tree unlawful removal. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Enforcement Officer Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance.
This is 478, just so I'm.
478.
Okay, right.
This tree case this evening is an irreversible, irreparable violation that originated by Temple Terrace arborist Joe Ferris on December 11th, 2024, when he observed an unauthorized oak tree removal at the shopping plaza. City arborist Joe Ferris notified Officer Smith, and I were also present that morning to observe the unauthorized tree removal. Later that morning, Officer Smith prepared a notice of violation and a notice of hearing. The owner of the plaza, Trent Goss, was present at City Hall to see Mr. Ferris about to rectify the violation, at which time I issued him a notice of violation, notice of hearing. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by Joe Ferris on December 11, 2024. Exhibit number 1 shows the topping of a 24 dBH oak tree, and exhibit number 2 shows a 30-inch oak tree topped as well. At this time, I'd like to submit.
You may submit.
The unauthorized removal of these trees was not damaged through the hurricane as well, just to let you know. And the city arborist is here tonight to answer any questions.
And the pictures you showed us were after the toppings, I assume.
That's after the topping, yes. And then Joe and I spoke, and we allowed them to remove those 2 trees, because at that point, the trees would never come back anyways. So we allowed them to completely remove those trees.
So it was 2 trees in this case?
That's correct.
Tom, I see debris on the side here.
That's the tree debris that they took down.
They took down.
Yep, we caught them in the act of cutting the tree down.
Oh, they were doing the topping.
Yes,
That
yep.
that thing.
Yep,
Okay.
that's the canopy of the tree in the parking lot.
You know if their intent was to remove the trees, was that,
Was there, I mean, the question was there intent to remove the tree completely?
right,
Oh, yes.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
so, okay, got you.
I imagine they're here.
Any other questions?
Well,
Yeah, we're gonna let Joe,
nephew's here,
Joe
but
Ferris.
Joe Ferris needs to speak to you next, and then the nephew can come up. He'll speak in behalf of his uncle. Okay?
Good evening again, Joe Ferris, City Arborist. So as Tom had said, the 2 trees that were being cut at the time that I drove by were 2 grand live oaks. When I stopped to talk to the tree service as to why they were, or what they were doing, they were hired to remove both trees on the back side of the signs. And as we said, we did the notice of violation. Mr. Goss had got, I think I said that right, Goss? Got in touch with me, came into the office to discuss how he could rectify this situation and mitigate the trees. Looking at the location and what was able to plant and where, he had asked suggestions. I had indicated that little gem magnolias would probably be the most appropriate in this situation. Based on those 2 trees, I had determined about 18 trees as mitigation. But in the same case as the one earlier, if they upsized the container size for the little gems, that would count as doubles. So it would have been 9 they would have been required to replant. He was more than willing, again, to cooperate to rectify the situation and do whatever it took to mitigate these trees. Ultimately, he ended up planting 14 little gems along the parking lot between the sidewalk and the parking. As well as replace any shrubs that were either missing or adjusted for the new plantings. So I do have a couple pictures I'd like to submit of what was planted. It's definitely increased the look of the plaza. Unfortunately, it ended up that way because of the loss of the trees, but they did an incredible job to mitigate that. Was more than willing to work with us again. So again, for those 2 trees and fines, please take that in consideration. Their willingness to work with the city and rectify, and they did an incredible job. It looks better than it probably did before.
I think in a previous case, you indicated that there was some irrigation work involved. Was it?
Yeah,
is that
same thing
true?
here. They've got the irrigation lines out there.
That's all taken care of?
Yep.
Can I ask,
Sure, yeah.
would you have considered those trees healthy prior to this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So like no risk of, obviously there's always a risk, but.
Yeah, it was, the ball was just dropped because they never called the contact. You know, had they called and we went through the right process, a permit would have been done, but mitigation still would have been required if it was something that I would have approved. So we probably would have gotten somewhere close to what they did now. It's just,
Okay.
it was done, the cart was put before the horse, essentially.
All right.
So any other questions?
Like to take a look at the
Me
mitigation
too.
Again, there were 2 trees.
2 trees, 2 grand size, so that's where the factor came in for the amount of trees because they were grand. They were over 24 inches, which is our determination of a grand. So one was 30-inch and one was right at 24 inches.
Yeah.
Wait till the.
All right, so thanks, Joe.
All right, thank you.
So the respondents are here, okay, or respondent.
Good afternoon. Trent McDuffie, 10910 North 56th Street, Tampa, or Temple Terrace, Florida. I'd like to enter into the record a letter of authorization for me to speak on behalf of the ownership, as well as respond to any questions. And then I'd like to read a letter from the property owner himself, if that would be okay. You need to verify.
And I believe Mr. Gross indicated to you that he would be here to speak.
Yes, I was aware of it. Okay. So we're all good with the?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to read a letter on behalf of Trent Goss that he had written to the City of Temple Terrace and the Code Enforcement Department. I would like to say a few things regarding this case. It was not my intention to circumvent the rules regarding the removal of these two trees. In hindsight, I should have insisted the tree company check with the city prior to their removal. In a moment of haste, I agreed to the removal based off a conversation about their health and leaning from the recent storm. Regardless of these excuses, I take responsibility and like to apologize for the issues it has caused. I have tried to move very quickly with as many replacement trees of the largest size available for the area we have along 56th Street. My hope is that the replacement landscaping is looked at as an improvement through one of the main corridors of the city. I would also like to say, or take a moment to thank the code enforcement team. Everyone I spoke to and met with was very helpful and approachable to work with. As a commercial property owner throughout the state, I appreciate all their efforts to keep our city from falling into disrepair and blight. We have been in the city since 1998 and have seen how far things have come and look forward to its future and being here for another 27 years or longer. Thank you for your time on this matter here tonight. Sincerely, Trent Goss. If you guys would like that, and then I'm willing and able to answer any questions you guys may have.
Sure. So, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, do you have any idea how much he spent to correct this situation and comply with what the requirement of the arborist?
Yep, it was just shy of $19,000, $18,950.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So, I guess we're ready to take for a finding on this particular.
I guess I'll, number two.
Oh, okay.
In case number 24-4789, I move the city has proven by greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 10910 North 56th Street. Applicable violations of 12-78 subsection A, subsection 1. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the violation is irreparable and irreversible, as defined by City Code Section 1-63. Therefore, I move that the fine of, I'm just going to say, $250, because we were not given how many trees, $250 be imposed, and that's that.
All right, we have a motion. Can we get a second?
Second.
All right, so we want to start the discussion phase. So he did say there were two trees.
But in the one photo, there were arrows of numerous trees that were replanted. I don't remember.
More than were.
Mitigation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they grew.
Trees removed.
Okay, so if we did 25 per tree before,
Right.
so it was only two.
Yeah,
All right, so I will amend that to 25 per tree, so $50.
all right.
Well,
We need a second on.
yes, I take back my second on that. Well, my discussion with this, it was complete intent of removal. And, I like everybody, owners of homes, owners of plazas, owners of businesses, to be aware that this is a simple process. As Ferris said, they could have just went ahead and went the right way and not intend to cut it. And that's why I agreed on the 250, which being light, I was thinking about 500, because it's 5,000 per tree, so it's you're talking about 10,000. So my argument is totally different than the previous case, because the previous case had no intention of cutting or removing the tree. It's just a miscommunication. This was not a miscommunication. This was a complete removal. If we get caught, we get caught. And
However, they planted.
So this is
If we count how many they planted,
yes, I
it's
agree.
upwards of 10 or
I
12.
agree. They made it look better, and I took that in consideration. I just wanted everybody to know, as residents and owners of businesses, as Tom maybe supports that, to know there is a right way and a wrong way. So, you know, and I don't want to make it lightly, $50, that's going to be very little. I will agree with you. I agreed on the 250, and I thought that was light. So,
I'm honestly okay with either. If we go back to 25 per tree, if we go to 250 total, I'm okay with either because I want, as you said, people to follow the process.
yes.
And Temple Terrace has a process. And if you're gonna work here, live here, do business here, you should respect that. So I'm okay with 250. I
I'll
truly-
second that motion.
And I'll second that.
Oh, we got 2 seconds. So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is that,
And I think just I'm sorry, real quick. I completely echo your sentiments, Rod, and I think that if, when we are working with respondents who are very compliant with the city and put the best interest of our community first, we can have an approach that takes into account all of the spending that they did to mitigate the situation. But I do agree that we have to make it pretty clear that there is a protocol, and so I completely, echo your sentiments.
all right.
So vote on 250, right?
I think so. If
Does he have to
if it's,
repeat it as?
we don't, if we're following the Roberts Rules of Order, do we need to have another motion and then?
I think we should make it clear. Just go ahead and repeat your,
I will repeat
just the
that
amount and,
the whole thing,
no, just the amount.
250 flat.
And I second.
Got a second? Okay.
Go ahead. Let
I'll
him
second that.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I think we're ready to take a vote on this one? All right, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? No nays, all right. So I think we came to a good conclusion here, so,
Can we take a 5 minutes break?
certainly, yeah.
A motion to have a.
So-
I'll second
Well,
that.
let's finish the motion, this one, and then.
Oh, okay.
Did you have any,
Did we
did
do
you have any other questions or comments?
Clarifying with him, but I think I'm all good. I understand everything as you guys have said.
Okay, yeah, it'd be a flat $250 fine for the fact the trees were removed.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate your time.
all right, thanks.
And then
And we're gonna take,
Vote? Did we take?
no, we,
5 minutes.
no, we took a vote.
We took a vote.
We took a, yeah, you're,
Motion to have 5 minutes.
a 5-minute break, okay. All right.
And
You read my mind.
back to business.
All right, next case will be case number 24-4665, City versus Thomas and Linda Beckman for the property located at 610 Hollywood Avenue. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-28A1, Permits App Required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by Community Development on November 15th, 2024 for construction of a shed without permit. I went direct to a notice of violation on that date with a reinspection date of November 25th, 2024. Posted the notice at the front door and a copy was posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement on the electronic board, and copies were mailed both regular and certified mail to the owner of record. My reinspection on January 30th, 2025 showed no change, so I prepared a notice of hearing and scheduled the case for the February Municipal Code Board meeting. I would like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on November 15th, 2024, and a screenshot of the stop work order, and also a photo taken on February 10th.
May submit.
Exhibit number 1 shows the notice of violation posting. Exhibit number 2 is a screenshot of the work without permit stop work order. And exhibit number 3 shows a photo of the shed. The site is not in compliance and I'm seeking a ruling.
All right. While we're circulating, do we, any questions for the code enforcement officer?
Yeah, I just want to see the photos.
Yeah, we just wait, because the photos aren't coming through on the screen.
Yeah, the screenshot, we don't really have a photo of the photo of the shed.
Photographs that are being handed.
So the shed is the ready, should I ask questions, Bill?
Yeah, please, go, that's what I said.
The shed is the type that you,
I have no idea about the shed, sir. All I know is that community development contacted us and said that we needed to post a notice of violation. All the questions regarding the shed would have to be directed to the building official.
so it's not the one ready, you could just buy.
I have no idea what it
Okay,
is, sir.
but maybe he'll,
Question for the building official.
okay.
So we need, unless there's no, if any other questions for the code enforcement officer, we'll bring up building inspector.
Say it again. Building inspector?
The building inspector?
Building official.
Official, oh, sorry.
It all works the same.
Okay.
Yeah, as of now, there's not been a permit application received for the shed that's in the rear yard. If the shed is assembled in any way, requires a permit. If it's a pre-assembled shed brought in and dropped, 150 square foot is where they do not require a permit unless it's larger than that. It has to be more than 150 square feet to need a permit.
Can you say your name too?
Pardon me?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh, Dallas Foss, the building official.
So this is one that's being constructed
From what
from,
Matthew, my other inspector, is the one that did see this. It was being constructed, he said.
okay.
So as opposed to like literally a crane.
Crane dropping, they come in like, the tough shed comes on a flatbed
Yeah.
and they just take it in the backyard and set it down.
As opposed to like you buy it from Lowe's and assemble.
The way the code reads, if you assemble it in any way, it requires a permit.
Okay.
If you brought a prefab, you just stood the walls up and bolted together.
Yeah.
Needs a permit,
Do,
no matter the square footage.
do we have the resident here?
Yeah, I think they're.
Oh, okay.
Here, yeah.
All right, so,
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Would a permit, what permits exactly would be required as far as like spacing from the,
Well, they have to submit for the shed, show us the evidence, the design of the shed and everything else, the engineering of how it's gonna be built,
Okay.
as well as a site plan for it on the property to meet proper setbacks.
do they need like engineering to do that? Or just, could they
It
draw up a sketch?
It depends upon the shed. There's some sheds you can purchase at Home Depot or other locations that are Florida product approved. They're state certified.
Right.
If it's that, we don't have to have the engineering because it's already been through the state certification. But if it's I'm just gonna build it on my own, then you have to have an engineer design it because it has to meet the hurricane codes and everything else for that.
So if they bought it from Lowe's or whatever, they could submit the whatever.
The spec packet.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
One more question. Does it require a slab or can it sit on the ground?
Some of them come in on metal skids, whatever, but they do, some put turf block, a concrete block, and set it and anchor. They are required to be anchored down. Some
Be anchored.
Yeah, they use similar to hurricane anchors. Or
That's what I'm getting at, so there's certain anchorage requirement because of we are in a hurricane
We
susceptible
don't
area.
want the shed going from your yard to 3 houses down the road. It needs to stay in your
Yeah,
yard.
it's true.
But all that would be discussed as part of the permit.
Part of the permitting process, yes.
Process, right.
That's fair.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thanks. So respondents are here, so.
I'm going to give you the spec.
Well, name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Tom Beckman, Linda Beckman, 610 Hollywood Avenue, Temple Terrace.
Right, thank you. So, okay, you have some,
This may not mean, it doesn't mean anything to me, but it's a spec sheet for the, I'll print out another one for myself, but.
What I'll do is I'm gonna hand this to the building official.
Yeah, it might mean something to him. It doesn't.
My question,
wait, I think they need to give us their,
oh, okay.
tell us the story.
I'm not sure what he was saying about the building on the property. I mean, this is just a one-piece thing, and they come in with a forklift of some sort, and they take it off the bed of the thing and set it down and anchor it down, and it's been through 2 hurricanes, already, so I know it's not going anywhere, but.
Well, and it was also, we did a lot of research on sheds beforehand, so we know it's a good shed, but it was a $4,500 shed. It's a 10 by 12, is that correct?
Yeah.
10 by 12. And as a matter of fact, while we were getting this transaction, we asked about permitting. And the man said, oh, where do you live? And we said Temple Terrace. And he said, you don't have to have a permit in Temple Terrace if you have.
Well, he said for the size of a shed.
For the size, yeah.
I just took their word for that, but
So
they had been there a couple of times. We had a new roof put on in the meantime, so they were out there for that. We had new windows put in. So the city's been out there, and it kind of came out of the blue. I didn't really know what that was all about, but.
Well, the thing that I would say is when I looked at the sheet that said the things that we would need to take care of, I actually thought, once we realized that it was too close to the lot line, I thought, I kind of thought that at the same time, but we assumed that they knew what they were doing. So we are good citizens of the community, and we want it to be the way it's supposed to be. So we have no problem at all getting a survey and having it realigned and permitted. However, the one thing that we did have a problem with is apparently there's something that says that it has to be taken down, which that's fine, take all the things down, but then it has to be reassembled. It has to be reassembled and then assembled and then reassembled. So they could look through everyone and see that every bolt is floated. I just don't understand the need to completely reassemble it.
This is what someone in permitting told me once, when I got the first notice to stop, work stoppage or whatever. It wasn't really any work being done. That would usually mean that, you're out there building it, which that wasn't the case, but. So I went to find out about the permit, and then that's when they told me, yeah, you got to disassemble it, lay it all out there, and then they'll come and look at that, and then reassemble it to put it in it. It's not something like.
It's fewer than 6 months old.
Well, plus I think you said earlier that this was not assembled on the property.
No,
It
no,
was. delivered,
It's,
so I don't
you see,
quite
you
understand.
see these shed places around, you know, that's, yeah, you know,
Mr.
they,
Vice Chair,
they,
can we invite Mr. Foss back to the microphone, because I think there's
Yeah,
some
'cause I think-
misinformation he can clarify for us.
Yeah, because I'm not clear on what,
Yeah.
exactly what the
I'm confused
violation.
with that too,
Yeah.
because,
Just making sure we're all on the same page.
yeah, because if it has the specs, it's a very simple process. It has the specs, you know.
Said the whole time, nobody's speaking, so.
Well, that's all, the only thing I'm hearing
he
is
just.
a 5-foot setback requirement.
Correct.
That maybe there's no 5-foot setback requirement, but it's under 150 square feet. It's 10 by 12. It's brought in by a forklift.
I just don't know.
So everything required so far does not need a permit. But it doesn't, if it doesn't have the setback requirement, which is 5 feet,
Right.
then that would be correct.
Well,
That
so
would be a different violation.
there'd be
I would
an
be-
adjustment,
Correct.
right? You'd have to
Yeah.
go to the Board of Adjustments.
That would,
So,
well, no, let's not even go there.
No.
Just that
Fair.
it would be a different violation.
Okay, oh, okay, all right.
Mr. Foss, can you kind of explain why you were shaking your head, so we can,
Alice needs to speak.
If this was a pre-manufactured shed that's, like you stated, 10 by 12, it does not require a permit to install it. It does require to meet the proper setback.
Oh,
Setback is 5 feet off the property line, side, rear. At the peak of the roof is 11 feet or less. If it's any higher, if it's 12 feet, you increase the offset by 1 foot. Instead of being 5 and 5, it'd go to 6, 6, 7, 7, depending on how tall the roof
right.
is. So it sounds like the
So
only
it
thing
sounds
is,
like it's the
we just gotta
setback
shift it.
That we're talking, yeah, just gotta.
It's gotta be
pick it up,
shifted.
Put it over.
we get it shifted, we're good.
Okay.
So, so it's not,
That's what I was hoping it was.
Let me talk to Tommy Dells for a second.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Thank you.
I could just see us with there with,
so we don't need a permit for this.
No, not, if, it doesn't sound like it to me that they need a permit for this.
Yeah, so that's,
This is okay with y'all. I would recommend we continue this case for 30 days. It sounds like it doesn't need the permit, sounds like they need to move it, and then within 30 days, you might have everything squared away and may not have a case.
Okay.
So if we can just ask you to continue the case for
Perfect.
30 days and see if we can't resolve.
Perfect. That should be no problem.
They-
will we still need a survey?
No.
Yeah, we'll be, there won't be any
This
doubt
gets
about
better
the
and
5
better.
feet.
maybe a tape measure, just a tape measure
Tape measure.
from the fence maybe, I don't know.
Well, see, the people who installed
It's
it
probably
or
on
said
this
it, you know,
information.
said,
Probably
I
10
need
feet.
3 feet,
I would think so.
you know, on all sides. That's all they said, so that's what we did.
I know where I fit in no
Now,
sheds.
Need 5 feet.
Okay.
all people struggle?
Just matter
Well,
of
I can,
2 feet.
depending on how far I have.
All right, so now, all we need now is just to do a continuance, which we don't have a script for that, so I think we,
We motion to continue case 24.
No, you gotta read the whole thing.
gotta read
Really?
it.
Oh, okay.
Have a continuance motion here?
I don't think,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we do.
I think we got into, we had,
Can
I
we,
think he's
can
gonna
we
have to
add
wing
lib?
it.
we can add lib, I think.
I can address
Okay.
Yeah.
Use the case number and the address.
Yeah, that's it, right? Motion to,
Oh, yeah, I,
Probably 10 feet, looking at this.
Well, it-
I was- I'm 6'5",
Yeah,
I
that
can
was
guess
our
10
problem, is
feet.
that we can set it that far.
The plan show an 8-foot wall height,
Oh,
1.5 to 12.
so the pit, well, yeah, probably 10 feet,
Pushing right about
yeah, I guess.
So how far should we push it back?
5 feet.
5 feet, 5 feet.
Okay,
uh,
easy peasy.
We only got 2 more feet to go.
We're gonna,
All right, let's,
Got you, and you're,
all right.
you're Tom. Well, I should be able to remember that. Okay.
This
we're
was
gonna-
a good night,
We're
thank
gonna
you.
do, yeah, you too.
Are we done?
Yeah,
Hold on,
you're
they're
good.
Almost, wait,
wait
well,
till they continue your
Wait till we
case.
do the motion to continue.
in case number 24, 4665, for the location of 610 Highland Wood Avenue, I move that this case be moved till, for a continuous till March 12, 2025, till, to see if it's gonna be resolved.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All right. Any further discussion with this one? No? All right. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? No nays? So, all right, so I think we've we're gonna give you guys time to get this resolved with the city and.
Yeah, because they'll just have to, well, I'll just have to get those guys, because they gotta drill the holes and anchor it again, so, you know, whatever that is involved.
Thank you.
All right,
All
thanks.
right, well, thank you, folks.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Good night.
How many do we have left?
Next case. We're going to,
Next-
ready, next case, yeah.
Next case is case 24-4804, City versus Victoria Terrace Condo Association for the property located at 5891 Granville Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 12-768A1, tree unlawful removal. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notion of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This tree violation case is an irreparable, irreversible violation that was originated by Temple Terrace City Arborist Joe Ferris on December 11th, 2024. I did request Officer Laurie Smith to prepare a notice of violation, a notice of hearing for the removal of 3 protected oak trees without permission from the city. Officer Smith did contact the property manager, Cam Clark, while on site that same day, advising him of the unauthorized removals of the 3 protected trees. That same day, Officer Smith prepared a notice of violation, a notice of hearing, which she posted at the site. The violation requested copies be sent out certified in first-class mail. She also requested a copy be posted on the electronic board at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by Officer Smith on December 11th, 2024. I'd like to submit it this time, sir.
Please submit.
So exhibit number 1 shows the notice letter posted at the community pool. Exhibit number 2 shows the tree stump of 18-inch and 30-inch DBH. Exhibit number 3 is the same as number 2. It's just a different angle of the photos. And exhibit number 4 shows the tree stump 36-inch DBH. City Arborist Joe Ferris is here tonight to answer any questions. And again, this was not caused by Hurricane Milton. Do you have any questions for me? Maybe Joe can explain to you maybe what a DBH means while he's up here. So maybe he can educate you on that.
So these trees were removed. They weren't, there's no topping or any of that.
No, this was completely removed.
Question.
Yeah.
In exhibit number 4, there is a sidewalk there? The tree is on top of the sidewalk?
The root system is placed over the curb of the sidewalk, yes.
Okay.
Or the curbing. It's not the sidewalk, it's the curbing.
Yeah.
And there's no letter from an arborist or whoever?
Oh, that's a question for Joe Ferris
Oh, okay.
to answer. We're just the enforcement part.
Any other questions for Code Enforcement Director? All right,
Okay?
I think we're ready for Joe.
Joe, you want to do your spiel? Maybe explain to them what DBH means?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Hi, Joe Ferris, City Arborist. DBH is the diameter at breast height. So that's your normal, that's the standard for measuring the size of the tree. So as Tom had explained, the day that I was notified that the trees were removed, I went out to the site to investigate what they were doing. There were 3 of them that had been removed in the same area. I believe it was Bay to Bay Tree Service was there removing the trees. At that point, they were gone. It was just the stumps, as you saw in the photographs. So I asked them why they were removed. He explained to me that they thought they were in decline and proceeded to show me pictures of the trees. I do not evaluate the health of a tree based on photos. It's not the appropriate way to evaluate trees. I was never called to look at the trees. There is that slight chance that if I had been called and they were in a condition that they claimed they were, permitting may not have been required for it. May have wavered that. I may have said, yes, you can remove and permits are required. But I never saw the condition of the trees. And again, it's not the proper way to evaluate the trees by photos. We had also then walked the site, looked at some other trimming that they were doing, which was within the sizes that doesn't require permitting. There was another tree in another location that they were scheduled to remove, had some damage from the hurricane, but I required them to get a permit. We were beyond the point where the city had lifted the ban for 1 month after Milton, where any grand sized tree could be removed without a permit, as long as myself or a representative had visually looked at the tree and said, yes, this is damaged, it needs to be removed. The tree service did, in that time period after I was there, within a week or so, got the permit to remove that tree. The only person I had been in contact with was the tree service. I was requiring trees to be mitigated in the same case as the last two. There was an X amount of trees that would be required to mitigate, but they could reduce that again by upsizing the trees. As of today, I haven't seen any trees replanted out there.
Okay. Well, and the only other option would be, and you'll know, it was House Bill.
Now, that doesn't apply to this situation. That is
No?
strictly for, and I have a copy back there, that is strictly for residential. It's specific to residential property only,
Okay.
single-family residential.
Thank you.
This is multifamily, so that wouldn't apply to have an arborist letter for the removal of the trees.
Perfect.
Or report as it is.
How many trees were removed?
3 total that were removed.
All right, and there's been no, have you had any conversations with the property owner as far as?
No, just the tree service. That's the only one I've been in contact, or that's been in contact with me.
So there's no, as far as you're concerned, there's been no attempt at all to mitigate in any way, either by monetarily or through planting new trees?
Yeah, nothing yet. No.
Now, just out of curiosity, could they, thank you, could they plant more trees in the area even knowing the root system is still there?
They
Right?
could still plant, yes.
Okay, they could. Okay. And those root systems aren't gonna deteriorate the growth of new.
No, as long as you don't plant right in the exact same spot where the tree was. It's never recommended to go there. Whatever's left in the roots will eventually just decay and add to that soil and enrich that soil. It's food for any new tree.
Okay.
Or any other trees that are nearby that those roots may take that nutrients from.
Perfect.
Yes, first. You indicated at the beginning that they said it's deteriorating, and we, here's a
They
picture.
said they were in decline, or they thought they were dead.
Yeah, but you did not see even the ones they
No, the
brought
trees
down.
were already moved, so I
Already
didn't
completely
see.
removed, you just
Yeah.
saw those stumps.
And that's, the process is for me to evaluate those, to see that. And again,
Before they do.
It's a guess now. I mean, if I'd seen them before, maybe they wouldn't have needed the permit. That would have been my call when I'm out there, or the condition of the tree, or said yes, the permit, and,
You have not seen them.
but I didn't, they were cut and all they
We
had
showed
were
him some,
photographs.
showed you some photographs of.
Yeah, and
Which again is not the proper way to evaluate a tree for the condition of the health is on photos. It's just not how you do it.
So obviously, we can go up to $5,000 per tree.
And I do want to add that in the past, it's been a few years, probably 3, 4, maybe, been asked to this property to evaluate some trees. I had approved them and permit was pulled for those. So it had the process,
Yeah.
the way it's supposed to be done has been done in the past.
So they were aware of the process, they just, for whatever reason,
Yes.
decided not to follow it this time.
Correct.
So based on the condition of I know you don't want to go by pictures, but based on the pictures, is there anything we should do to mitigate the potential fine for these guys? Is there any
In terms of,
reducing it below 5,000?
again, it's hard to tell by pictures. I didn't see the trees to see, it's to evaluate it properly is not by photographs.
Okay.
You don't get a full picture and you're not walking around the tree to see the condition. Is it at the base of the tree? Is it at the roots of the tree or the canopy? What does
Roots
that
look
look
healthy.
like? What's the condition of it? Is there rotting limbs that are falling? But not seeing any of that, And there's been in the past where trees have been completely dead, and I don't require the permit.
Yeah.
But I at least have had my eyes on it, I've noted that, and I have documentation if anyone ever questions, why did a tree come down?
And you said these were live oaks?
I believe they were laurel oaks.
Laurel oaks, okay.
Yeah.
And big diameter.
Yeah, there were two of them that were grand size. One was a
Grand size.
smaller, was like 18-inch, wasn't quite.
And what would have been your requirement? How many trees? As you said,
It was I had 25 trees or 12 if they upsized.
12 if they do the double. Okay. And that's, you're talking almost another $30,000, probably, to do that.
Yeah, I don't know what the cost would have been.
well,
Depend on the type of tree that would have been replanted.
Do the property owners typically contact you? I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
Sometimes the property owner will, sometimes it's the tree service that will contact me. One or the two will call and ask me to evaluate, I've got concerns, we'll talk about it, and I go out and I'll evaluate it and then go from there. So it's done sometimes either way, just depending.
And so after the fact, they still haven't nobody's contacted you after the fact?
No one's contacted me from the property owners.
Do we have respondents here?
I don't know. Oh, okay, sorry. Maybe I didn't realize you guys were back. Okay, all right. So any further questions for the city arborist?
Thank you first.
All right, okay. So thanks, Joe. All right, so respondents the floor is yours.
Of course, yeah, and I actually have a copy too. Can explain some of that. These are submitting about this in evidence or what have you. Good evening, Stan Rowe. I'm general counsel for Victoria Terrace Condominium Association. Address is 5891 Granville Drive.
And I'm Cam Clark, I'm the property manager.
I know what you guys just heard. The issue here is there's a miscommunication with the tree company itself. As he mentioned, there was prior permits pulled for trees 3 or 4 years ago. That was a different tree service. The tree company that removed these trees was under the impression that 163045 applied in this situation, and if he deemed them to be dangerous to property or persons, they could be removed without a permit. So that's what happened. As soon as we were made aware, as soon as he was made aware, and Cam were made aware that we did need a permit, they immediately have now, like as mentioned, they have now sought permits for multiple trees that have been removed since. The reason why there has not been any trees planted yet is because the last trees to be removed were just removed last Friday. So one of the documents I gave Mr. Mueller here is a quote for both options of 25 3-inch trees or 12 6-inch trees at the prices of $12,500 or $16,800, which the association fully intends to do. But as I said, the last trees were just moved this past Friday. So in order to actually plant the trees strategically, so it best benefits the property, the city, what have you, we wanted to wait till the actual removal efforts were done. This was not intentional whatsoever. It was negligence on the part of the tree company itself. We are very sorry this happened, and unfortunately it was in the wake of Hurricane Milton. The trees, another document I just handed the gentleman was a statement from the arborist saying the trees were, like I said, harmful to property persons, and that's why they were moved. So, wake of Hurricane Milton, and we are simply seeking to make this right by planting either 25 3-inch trees or 12 6-inch trees, preferably the 12 6-inch trees.
I can say the association's gonna go with the 12 trees, just so that we can actually get them placed in an area where they're not gonna be a concern for damaging property or
please.
persons. Trying to put 25 smaller ones, we're just setting ourselves up for down the road to have to take more trees down. So the plan is to go with the 12 larger trees and to get them placed in areas where they're gonna be able to stay and grow to maturity and not be in a way or next to sidewalks like one of the ones that was damaged, that was removed.
And which is actually the more expensive option by $4,300 too. So we're not trying to pinch pennies here. We want to make it right and go on. And As I've said, we have requested permits and will in the future. Absolutely. It was
Well,
simply
and
an
I will make-
oversight by the tree service.
Well, and I will make sure that any tree vendor moving forward that does tree work in the association emails me a copy of any permits prior to removing a tree. I take fault on that, but I leaned on the vendor to make sure they were following what the law was, so.
So the tree service, like you said earlier, they misinterpreted the statute, the state statute.
Correct, yes, yes, sir, because in 2022, the statute changed to only apply to single-family homes. So he was still operating under the 2022 version, so he should probably not try to practice law.
Yeah, because when he called me, he was just like, no, I got
Just
this,
saying.
I got this statute, and I was just like, man, if they're saying you need a permit, then just stop everything, get the required permits, and we'll address this accordingly. And he did reach out to Mr. Ferris and did get the proposal. I did reach out to Mr. Ferris and left a message. I didn't get a return call, but I didn't follow back up with him either, or try to contact him again either, so I'm not putting that on him or anything. I figured I already got the proposal, I got what the mediation needs to be to address the issue, so.
I just wanted to comment. This is very good thing to hear because I can see that they had no intention. This is, to me, the very important thing is the intention. So we really appreciate it. And you have a plan that's going and it's going to go for you. So appreciate it. We got to say the good and bad, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, Lori has my cell phone number.
Yes.
I mean, so whenever she comes through and sees something, she lets me know. We work very well together. I manage a couple of communities in the area. So I do their job as a property manager. So I understand why I'm here, why we're here. I can tell you that I will make sure that any tree that is removed, a permit is required, or even if I'm told that a permit isn't needed, I can reach out to them, because I know there's certain trimmings that can be done without a permit. If a vendor does tell me that, I will do my due diligence and follow up with the arborist to make sure that that is correct prior to anything being done.
While you're still up here, I just wanted to ask the city attorney if there are any concerns with the contracts that you saw as far as what they're planning on doing. Is there any legal issue with?
I think that's really going to be a better question for Mr. Ferris. He's had a chance to review it. He can indicate whether he has a.
Yeah. I just want to know if the city likes the mitigation plan.
He spoke to you about everything. and
That was
this-
what I was trying to
These are
ask.
the two options that we have.
Yes. Yep.
So I meant that, and
I'm sorry, what was the
Does
question?
it satisfy the?
Does that satisfy you?
Yes, this would definitely satisfy the city.
Okay, thanks.
And the only thing I want to add, just call me next time
I will.
directly.
I'll get, before we leave, I'll get that way I can.
When you were asking about how the process is done, this is where
So that's what
property
I'll do
owners
later.
kind of get left hanging with everything. Because if they rely on a tree service who's not correct on what they're telling them, and just based on that, this is where we end up with that situation. So
I'll get your.
this is for anyone that's out there listening. If you're the property owner, call me first. Don't rely on the tree service. Verify with me first before whoever you hire.
There's, you think also they're
But
going
yes,
to
this-
go through a process of permitting now. It's to show you a plan similar to what we've seen in the past, where they're going to plant those, whatever, 25 or.
Yeah, just a basic something
Yes.
on, an aerial of the property to show, because this is quite a large property and there's a few open space areas where things could be planted that,
But nothing has started yet.
yeah.
Nothing hasn't started yet. We
Yeah.
just finished removing, I
Yes.
believe after this happened, we had to get like four more permits, I believe. Last Friday, the last tree was removed. So now what I need to do is go back and figure out, all right, I got 12 I need to place. Let me find the areas. I'm thinking one's gonna be right, and the community's right across the street.
So you've gotten permits since all of this?
Oh, the minute we found out about this, there was like three other trees three or four that needed to be removed, and I told them, nope, you get permits and don't touch anything until you get the permit. So that's what puts things a little bit farther. And I didn't want to start any new plantings until everything was done and we could actually get a good plan.
And they just give us a timeline, how long it's gonna take before the planting of these trees.
If you can give me 30 to 45 days, I'm going to get this approved and get the ball rolling on it right away. So I can't speak for the vendors and the suppliers, but my goal is to have it done as soon as possible.
I'm
And I
okay
can
with,
keep
I'm okay
Lori in
with
the
30
loop,
days.
Joe in the loop.
I'm okay with an extension, yeah.
Well, I think in this case, we don't even put a timeline on it. We could, I guess, but I mean,
Well, I mean, we have
this
to-
is just a fine, so we're not really in
Again,
the business of.
Just to clarify, this would be irreparable, irreversible, so there is no deadline on that. I think that what would happen is if the mitigation somehow didn't happen, and I think it's going to happen, I don't mean to say that it isn't, that would be a separate violation that would be brought, but.
Okay, okay.
Our expert in.
Can I ask the attorney one question? I know we cannot put a timeline, but can we do the fine tremendous or to the max if they've done nothing in 30 days or 45 days or whatever, and then if they did it faster, to give them that incentive to have it way lower, and treat it like, you see, most of the cases that we
That
had.
language is tough, though.
That is
think we wanna
exactly where I was gonna go
That
with
language
that.
is tough.
Again, if they fail to mitigate, then another case will be brought. I
Will
think
be
that'll
brought.
be the easier way. I think the practicality of trying to create an order like that.
Yeah, well, I'm trying, from what I'm seeing and what they had, we can stay with the trend of, the fine, because we have to come up with a fine. And to me, they showed good faith of doing the mitigation for
This is
the.
great discussion, but
Yeah,
let's
okay.
move this, I mean,
Well-
it's a long meeting, so we really need to.
Okay,
I don't
thanks.
wanna
So-
cut you short,
yeah.
but
Well,
we can do this in
I'm trying to
discussion.
prepare for what the
I'll
amount.
give it my best shot, and I appreciate your sentiments,
Yeah.
and I like that, because they've also done a lot.
Yes.
Don't judge.
This is good. We finally.
You're the expert on
We finally
that.
have a tree expert here on the.
Oh, yeah, tree
code
expert,
board,
yeah.
so we can-
In case number 24-4804, I move that the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code exist on the property located at 5891
Oh, okay, yeah,
Granville Drive. Applicable code sections, we're looking at, hold on, I got it here. 12-768, subsection A, subsection 1, tree unlawful removal. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move the violation is irreparable and irreversible as defined by the City Code Section 1-63. Therefore, I move the fine of $250 flat fine be imposed if no progress, can I say that? No progress is made by March 12th, 2025.
What?
Or the fine takes.
I thought we decided not to go that route. We were not going to.
I thought we were, no, well, all the other ones, they had made a flat fine of $250. All the other ones that we said, well, we need a second before discussion. I'm sorry.
Second.
So I don't know, I'm not sure what you
I,
proposed.
I want a flat fine of $250.
Okay.
However, if no fine is imposed,
If no.
then I
no
guess I
progress
should have
is-
said
if
more.
If no progress is made by.
Because I want to see that evidence, I want evidence that they have made progress.
Towards mitigation.
She seconded, but we have, that's why I was alluding to. But the 250 would be sufficient for me.
Correct.
But no
Second,
time,
We got a second, okay, all right.
yeah, yeah. No,
And then we can read.
well, that would be a different violation, because if they don't, if they did not plant the trees and
That's why I
do
said
what
no
they
progress,
intend.
because I want to know, I understand that with vendors and things, it can take time sometimes, or you have to, and he has however many properties he has to manage. So I can amend my initial motion. However, I want progress. I want to see that there is effort. I want to see that they are moving forward. I want, you
So
know,
you want them to report back here in 30 days and with
It-
Can we
it-
ask
their
Ernie if
progress?
that's okay?
I just want to know if we.
I know, because Ernie's making a face.
Yeah.
I don't even, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't,
Can we
I
make
personally
that
don't like this
stipulation, Ernie?
approach, but.
Well, I just think it's gonna be problematic enforcement-wise even.
Yeah.
My thought is, if you wanna see progress, do you feel that you'll be able to get started by March 12th?
Easily. I can keep Mr. Ferris
I love that.
in the loop with it.
All right,
I mean, I don't have no issue, like, the association is gonna replant trees. That's not enough, like, it's
'Cause
not
that-
enough.
that-
We are replanting.
That's my biggest concern is that I want to see progress. I want to see that you guys care, you know, and that's what the board, that's what the city cares about, is that we understand this may have been a mistake, but at the same time, we want to see you moving to the right direction.
Oh, maybe there is something we can do, Ernie. We can vote on the fine after they're done. Is that possible?
you could bifurcate, I think. What you're saying is kind of come back for the sentencing, kind of the penalty part of this.
You do the right thing, otherwise you go to.
Can I just have a second? Let me talk with Tom and Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why we have discussion.
You see, Brian,
This is why
why?
we have
No,
our
I
city
appreciate,
attorney
no, I
running it.
appreciate it.
We have to be really careful with our language though, because we want to make sure that we're not obligating code enforcement to
because
do
they can
anything,
get-
that we're not like stepping on language.
Language.
They can get the fine.
That's why we are people and not monkeys.
That's true.
And how can you enforce
Thumbs are a thing.
enforce that?
Language.
Well, they would come, I think they would come back with a
I know that.
separate,
Oh,
separate violation
I'm
for
on
them
the
not
same-
mitigating this. Yeah. They, I'm pretty sure we've done that before, where they,
Doesn't sound like it.
As the code-
that was a question we had one time where we postponed the, we did a continuance on, because they,
That's what makes.
Joe wasn't 100% sure. Remember that? I think that was the one where he wasn't sure,
Give them the time.
where he wasn't sure if they were gonna mitigate
I
or
will
not.
suffer.
They said they were going to, so we gave him more time.
Of our city.
And then he came back and said they did mitigate it, and then we gave, and the fine was
You know
imposed
all
on
of
top
the
of that.
ways that
So
helps
that
us
may be,
privacy.
maybe a continuance situation where we can,
So if you could remove the date
Yeah.
from the
Okay.
time, the 30-day frame, the city is okay with that, okay?
So
If
no
they-
date?
If they don't put the trees in, like they said they're gonna do, we could bring it back as a repeat violation.
okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so no day.
Solution.
Okay.
So no progress, but
The fine is up to you guys.
Yeah.
Whatever you wanna come up with, but eliminate the date of 30 days.
so would I just have to say until code?
Just read it as is written.
Just read it as it is.
Okay.
Just eliminate the date.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Hubert, I guess you probably talked about it, but I've also talked to opposing counsel, and they understand that if they don't start mitigation, because there's other factors that can be involved. They brought to my attention, you got other people that are gonna be planting it.
Right.
So, but if they haven't been in touch with Mr. Ferris, if mitigation hasn't happened, you know, in a time that the city's happy with, there's going to be an immediate case brought.
Now, if it's a repeat, should we warn them that fines can be doubled?
We'll worry about that.
We'll worry about that when we get there.
Again, we're talking irreparable, irreversible, up to $5,000 per violation.
Okay.
You have 3 violations.
So can I just start at this
Start from the
motion
beginning,
phase?
please.
Yeah,
We've had
start
it.
over.
You do it so well.
Thank you.
You're the tree violation expert on the.
Oh, I love the trees. I'm the Loraxes. In case number 24-4804, I move the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code on the property located at 5891 Granville Drive. Applicable codes 12-768 subsection A, subsection 1, tree unlawful removal. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the violation is irreparable and irreversible as defined by City Code Section 1-63. Therefore, I move that a fine of $250 be imposed, flat $250, not to exceed $5,000.
All right.
Just leave it flat, 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other, I'm not sure if we're
You don't
supposed to.
have to read
I'm not-
the last.
I'm
Well,
not
it was
supposed
in-
to-
it was
yeah,
in-
I know, it's.
It was there.
All right, so we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion on this? All right, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? No nays? Motion passes. So
Thank you, everyone.
you guys are, you're all set? Okay, all right. Have a good night.
Oh,
All right,
I am now known as Laura. Still gonna go mess back.
next case.
Next case is case number 24-2353, City versus James L. and Joyce A.G. Evans for the property located at 11305 East Queensway Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 10-4B4A, nuisance buildings 90 days. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good
Sir-
evening.
And sir, were you sworn in?
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case was presented back on December 11th, 2024 by me for the violations of a structure that's a nuisance to the neighbors. And based on Mr. Evans' presentation, the board and the city came up with a continuance to be presented 60 days from that date. So I'm here tonight. Was everybody at that code board meeting heard my testimony?
Yeah,
Yes.
I was.
Yep, I remember.
Was
Remember it.
Mr. Gomez, you weren't there? Okay, so I'll read the whole thing then, since I'm sorry, but it's only fair to Mr. Evans that I read the, okay, so, this case this evening originated back on May 20th, 2024, when I received an early morning phone call from the fire chief, Mike Haywood, that this home was damaged due to a fire that started inside the garage. My visit that same morning noted heavy fire damage and water damage to the attached garage structure. Code staff monitored the property for several months. On November 6, 2024, I advised Officer Smith to prepare a notice of violation with a compliance date of November 25th, 2024. Since the home is unoccupied, she posted the notice letter at the front door and requested copies be sent out first class and certified mail. She also requested a copy to be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My inspection on November 25th, 2024 noted no change. Therefore, I prepared the necessary documents to have this violation presented at the Code Board on December 11, 2024. At this time, I would like to enter photographic evidence that was taken by Laurie Smith and I. Exhibit number 1 shows the fire structure damage that was taken by Laurie Smith on May 23rd, 2024, and exhibit number 2 shows that was taken on November 25th, 2024 by me of the damaged structure. Did you show the photographs, Doug? Doug? Okay.
Working on it.
You want to get it? Okay. So as of yesterday morning, I drove by the property and nothing has changed. It still looks the same way as you see today. I'm still receiving complaints from neighbors of why isn't code enforcement taking any action against this property owner? I do believe it's a nuisance and a hazard to the school that it's adjacent on the back side of the house. The school kids that cross this property next door to it, so it's like a shortcut to the school. It is boarded, and Mr. Evans is here tonight to update us on the property itself. Do you have any questions for me? Juan, any questions?
I have a question for Mr. Barone.
Okay.
When you said it's boarded, we have a two-story structure. Are both stories structured, or what's the second story like?
So the second story is wide open. It just shows the burnt out area, the roof area, as you can see in the photo, it's clearly wide open. So if rain, when the season comes for rain, rain's just gonna be pouring into that structure.
But you said you were concerned about school children. Is it possible that you're thinking maybe they could climb up and?
Well, I mean,
Second
kids are
story.
kids.
Yeah.
And I do just create, I think could be a potential problem. I'm not saying that it has been a problem.
Right, no.
Police have not notified me of children playing in the area, but I'm just saying it could be a problem. And the building official is here tonight, and maybe he could tell you more about the property, or if you want to hear Mr. Evans, that's up to you.
Both? Yeah, both.
Any
Okay.
questions?
Any other questions?
Yes, for Tom.
Yeah.
I remember this case, and just remind me what he promised to do. Didn't we have a case and was continued
It was continued,
till today to see what our decision will be today?
but he didn't bring any kind of evidence into the board from the insurance company or anything. He's having problems with the insurance.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was supposed to bring us evidence.
Yes, I remember that, and nothing happened till today.
Nothing.
Similar to what when we looked at it
He has
first
not
and we
shown
gave
me
him.
anything. He has not called me. All I do is drive by the property to make sure it's still boarded up and everything.
Thank you.
Okay? So again, this is almost a year this has gone by. And if this is the same property with the chimney that collapsed, and we waited over a year to get that fixed. I mean, I feel bad for the family that lost a home, a beautiful home, due to a fire. But the code is the code. 90 days, it's a nuisance, it becomes a nuisance to the neighbors. So
It's been a year.
now it's on May 20th, it'll be a year. Would you like to hear from the building official, or do you want to hear from Mr. Evans?
The respondent?
He's pointing over here, so.
Mr. Evans, sir?
Yeah.
It needs to be sworn in first. Okay.
Yeah, he does.
A few things were left out there on that.
Hold on, wait, wait.
Oh, yeah, promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Wait.
Gotta have sworn in, man, sorry.
All right,
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide the board tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
Thank you. And state your name, please.
James Evans, I live at 11305 East Queensway Drive. I used to. Current owner. As a refresher on that last meeting, it was not that I was supposed to bring back, I told y'all I was going to depositions in January. And we were gonna have me come back and fill you in on what occurred. And if we had any more information from the insurance company, because this whole thing is dependent on the insurance company. The result of that, I haven't gotten any I haven't gotten anything in writing from the attorneys regarding the deposition, but I did find out from State Farm that they fired the adjuster that's been dragging this out for all these months. He's gone. I have a new adjuster. Today I got a text where he has already in 1 month, he's been on the job now for about 4 weeks. Since January, so mid-January, I think, is when he took over the case. No, I'm sorry, end of January, 1st of February. He approved a check today. I haven't gotten it yet, but they sent me a photocopy of it for about $250,000. Now, that's nowhere near the amount required to replace it, but it's a good faith effort by them to let me get started on some things. So I've hired an architect. I've spent $5,000 to retain an architectural firm. I told him I still want to go to the inside and start tearing the house down. I had to talk to Dallas about getting a demolition permit. Excuse me. I'm feeling really sick, guys, so I'm sorry. I think part of the stress, but I think I'll have a much better. Hopefully, this new adjuster, he's done more work in the last 3 weeks than the first guy did in 5 months. So I have a lot of faith in this guy, at least temporarily. My personal adjuster that I hired to help me through this, he's feeling real positive about this guy too. That's when he sent me this, because they sent him a check that he has to countersign to send it to me. So that's why they sent me this picture of it. I can show your attorney the picture if you want to see it on my phone. I was hoping to try to print it out before I came tonight, but I couldn't get my printer to print it out, so I just couldn't do it. But I hopefully will have an answer as far as the only thing, what they have not approved is the contents. And they advised me, I asked if I could go ahead and pull a demolition permit, and they said, you can pull it, but if I start tearing things apart, it could hurt my claim, because the only thing they're not approving so far is the contents. And once I start tearing all that contents out, there goes my evidence to fight them with. Now, I've got a list that the first adjuster insisted I produce a list itemizing literally everything, how many pairs of socks, how many pairs of shoes. I got a list almost an inch thick, single-spaced, of possessions, clothing, socks, shoes, silverware, plates. I mean, it took me probably over a month or more to compile that list, and it's not complete, but it's what I could do to get it into them. So right now, I'm still planning to go ahead with a permit, as I think that they are going to give me an okay, but I'm scared to death that, you know, their past track record has not been wonderful. But like I said, this new guy does seem to be a lot more on the ball than the previous guy. Now, they could be doing a mutt and Jeff, I admit. I haven't called State Farm and said, hey, is so-and-so still there? But I take their word that he was fired. And the new guy said that he's just, I'm not the only problem. There's a whole bunch of problems this guy was handling. And he said, I just haven't gotten to your contents yet. But I submitted a contract with a contractor. I submitted a proposal on rebuilding the house. And he said he's okay with that. So now he's just working on contents. I'm hoping to have an answer in a couple of weeks, maybe even this week. I just don't know. But that last answer on the contents is the only thing that's stopping me from going forward. But I got to get the plans approved. I got to get them drawn. But I can at least start. Once he okays the inside, or he comes up with a number that says that we both agree on for the value of the contents, then I can start tearing things out of it. But I can't do that without a permit. So that's where I'm at right now. But at least I've got some good news that I do have some money now, or I will have some money, but I still can't. All I can do at this point is just go for a permit and sit on it until they say, yeah, we're good on your contents. And then I can start knocking it down. But we're going to tear the whole house down.
So I just have a question for the city.
Let me finish that up too.
Sure.
That side lot is not a side lot. That's my property. That whole lot is mine. So you're worried about kids trespassing there. I let the cops park out there. They hide behind my bushes and write tickets. You guys have been parking your vehicles there for the last 15 years, ever since you started the parade. You guys line up and park all over my property. I've never said a word. I'm fine with that. But I don't have a problem with kids climbing up in that house or trying to break into it. I boarded it up. I had the fire inspector look at it. He's fine. I've got padlocks on it. I got plywood on it. You know, yeah, you can put a ladder up on it and climb up on the second floor if you're that gumptious, but none of those kids from Greco are that gumptious. I'll warn you right now. And I have talked to the cops, not because of problems with the house, it's because I keep finding drug paraphernalia out there in the bushes at the corner, you know. Now, I've called the cops on that like 3 times. That's why I said, you guys need to start parking back here like you used to. And they still do. I got pictures on this phone right now to show you cops parked in my backyard at the edge of the lot to catch the kids coming out. But they don't, the only time they cross that yard is when they're trespassing. You know, so it's not a vacant lot. It's not an open place to go running through. It's, you know, they do it, but it's not something that's, you know, I don't think those kids are out there trying to break into the house. They've had ample time. I've been there for over 20 years, since I built that house in '87.
I think the city attorney wanted to.
Yeah, I just got a question, Mr. Evans. You've talked about, you know, you can start a demo permit. I think what the city's also looking for here is what's the overall plan?
I just said it. I've hired an architect to redraw the house. The whole house has to be torn down.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, the whole.
That's why the holdup is the
house?
inside. I'm over the limit, and I'm not asking for extra money. I'm not asking for over the amount. But basically my adjuster just said, you can quit making a list because you've already exceeded the limit of the policy. So just what I've listed so far on all the furniture and the belongings and the TVs and everything else. The first adjuster, he said, oh, I'll give you like $3,000 and you can haul everything out of the house so we can get a really good look at the structure. And my adjuster is the one that, you know, I thought, oh, that sounds crazy, but what the heck? And my adjuster was like, so you're going to okay the interior amount? You know, oh, no, let's not get the cart ahead of the horse. So he said, so you want us to take everything out and haul it off, and then you'll tell us what it's worth?
So your plan will be
Just to tear the house
Gotten
down.
The check on the structure itself, you're just now looking at the interior.
No, I've only gotten, that's only like 25%.
So, but your plan will be to demolish the entire
Yeah,
house?
the whole
and
house is gone.
rebuild, or?
I'm gonna rebuild, yeah. That's another thing that State Farm did too, on this, to even get this check, this 250,000 is to get started with the plans and the permits, because they don't wanna, we talked about this a little bit. One thing I learned this, when we had this insurance crisis in the state, passed some legislation to modify the insurance agency. They did a couple of things. They allowed the insurance companies to depreciate your house from market value to whatever they decided. They felt like they could knock off 35% of the value of your home for age and depreciation. Even though the value right now, say, is $1 million, they can say, well, we'll give you 700,000, that's it, because we're allowed to do that now. Secondly, is we don't have to pay your attorney. You have to pay your attorney out of pocket. So if you sue us and win, you're still gonna pay the worst we can do is we have to pay you what you originally owed us, what we originally owed you. So they got a no-lose situation in this case, because they can refuse to pay the full amount, and if I sue them, I gotta pay the attorney 35%, which takes the 35% they're not paying me off the table right then. I mean, it's a horrible, horrible decision as far as homeowners go. But that's where that is, so I'm just trying to get, so I can rebuild the whole thing, but I know, I'm a retired contractor. I built homes, hundreds of homes. And it took me a while to finally wrap my head around it realistically, but to completely gut that house down to the framework and then go back and bring it up to code, meaning adding filled cells and rebar in the walls, and had to tear all the sheetrock out, all the framing pretty much, and start from scratch. You might as well just bulldoze the thing off, because you're gonna spend a fortune trying to disassemble everything slowly to get it down to just walls and frame.
Well, I guess the question would be, in 30 days.
In 30 days, I can give you an answer. I might be able to give you an answer in a week as far as going to demolition.
Like,
Still gotta get
where
the
do you
permit
think-
approved.
Yeah, where do you think you'd be in that 30? Because if they've sent you the check, and I know with insurance, the way it works, if you have a mortgage, you're gonna have to get it confirmed by them. and
There's a
have
bunch
them-
of paperwork, like I said.
Correct. There's a lot with that, and I know that more than most.
Yep.
However, where do you think you'd be in that 30 to 60 days? Because again, I don't know the details of the people who might be complaining.
What I've got, I mean, I'm not worried about the check is no problem. My house is paid for. It's paid off.
Oh, okay. It's so easy.
Yeah, that part
part's
is easy. The point is, there's like a $25,000 section for demolition, but
Right.
that's in the interior part. So the money they've given me is like for trusses and for framing and they've given me a portion. Okay, they haven't approved the interior, and the interior, I guess because they have to go inside and bring the stuff out, that's part of that. Actually, they said 3,000, but the three bids they had all were 20,000 plus. But,
Well, I mean, the real question is, what's the progress that you?
progress now is
realistic-
I've got money to hire people. So like I said, we've already hired an architect. I'm hoping to have the plans for review within a week or two. I don't know how,
You have, sorry.
This is the demolition plan, that's what you're talking.
No, house plans.
House to rebuild.
Got to build the whole thing, all from scratch. Now demolition, I don't think I have to have plans for demolition.
Brian,
But I do have to have it done professionally. I'd like to demolish it myself, but
Significantly.
that would take forever.
We have a question over here too.
can I,
Oh, no,
Oh,
it's okay.
No, but I was just gonna say, the idea is, as soon as they tell me that that they've got the interior taken care of, and I can go ahead and bring somebody in, a professional, because they're gonna have to separate it, because when you have a burn like this, and you can back me up if you like, you have to separate the debris, because some of it can't go to certain dumps. You have to take certain things. I'll have at least probably 3 dumpsters involved minimum. And some of the stuff will have to go in one dumpster, and there'll be like all the clothing and all the furniture might be in one dumpster, and then all the appliances and all the electronics will be in another dumpster. It'll have to be it'll be one of these companies that does this professionally.
what we're trying to do here, and along with my all colleagues agree, we're trying to see an actual plan. We have not seen a plan in a year, Mr. Evans. That's you know, or any progress at all.
Yeah.
Now, I understand insurance has limits, so whatever limits they, you know, did they give you the entire limit? Did they do, you know, I kind of like, you know, trust me,
Yeah,
I
they
don't
haven't-
understand why would they drag
not
on a
into it.
year when you do have a valid insurance and a policy and a limit on that policy. Your house was
They're trying to
already
avoid
deemed unlivable, deemed to be.
Yeah, they were supposed to have me into a rental unit that they were paying for. I stayed for 5 months in a hotel room and then moved out on my own and rented a place.
No, and we get that insurance isn't the best. We understand that, but like if you have a plan, you say you have an architectural
Yes,
company.
I hired an
So where are those plans?
We want to see those.
I haven't drawn yet. I just hired them to draw them.
All right, so
All right, I'll tell you what, I've got a
You said you spent $5,000 on some
paid a
plans.
deposit,
So you
$5,000.
should gotta have a plans in your hands, so that's
That's
my
the
problem.
deposit to
We're not
take the
seeing any
contract to build it.
papers or anything that's showing progress, Mr. Evans.
I'll bring
That's-
those back
That's
in.
my opinion, you know.
Would you like me to
Maybe
bring
this will
something
help a little
to
bit.
Dallas, or
we
would you like
would
me to-
like
I
we
just
would like
want-
something.
I want to ask,
I don't have a problem with
I
it.
want to ask Mr. Barone, so I'm not familiar with nuisance violations. What would the city require for this violation to be complied with? I don't know, what exactly are you guys looking for
If you look at the
long-term?
If you look at the verbiage of the code, it says partially destroyed or damaged,
Okay,
and that's partially damaged.
Yeah, the garage is what's
For
damaged.
them to bring that property in compliance, they would have to either demo the whole structure or demo the garage area that is damaged.
Well, and then at that point, like
So-
thinking of past cases, they have a longer period of time to rebuild, right? Like you get a permit to build a new structure, you get 6 months.
Yeah, they'll have
Yeah, I
to,
think
right,
the-
obtain permits to build the structure, new structure.
so the demolition is really, that's all you guys are looking for right now, to get
If
the.
that's the plan,
And the building permit that he's talking about to get a new structure built, that has nothing to do with what we're just.
Right,
what
there's
we're-
two permits.
The recommendation here.
Yeah,
Right, the permit at this,
I think this-
I'm sorry.
What the city is looking for is to move forward with this violation.
right.
I think Mr. Evans needs to be put on the clock. I think that he's got to show good faith, okay? So if the board finds that the evidence is clearly there, you have to make a decision that the evidence is there. If you determine that the evidence is there, there needs to be a fine. Now, we all have a heart and sympathy and understand what he's going through, the family's going through. But there is a process of a lien reduction. So if we see that the structure is demoed, then he could present a lien reduction to the city attorney, and then Ernie will take that all into account.
And I think he
But
said,
we can't
right.
allow this to go on.
Correct.
And on and on.
I think he said in 30 days he'll have an answer for us, and that,
Well, 'cause
and maybe,
there's-
and,
But that's not gonna.
no, I'm not saying we can't come up with a fine, I'm just saying that he can come back and give us a status or whatever.
there's people on the board who have gone through something very, very similar to you. There's also people on the board who have worked in the industry that you're fighting against.
Yeah, I know,
And I 100% understand your position.
frustration.
More than most, honestly. What I'm saying is, we need to see some progress, and I understand, and if they wrote you a check for 250 grand, the house is paid off, we wanna see some work done. That's all we're asking.
My point is demolition, I can't start the demolition until they release the interior. That's the holdup. That's the $300,000 question. They're withholding that. If I demolish the interior, if I haul everything out into the dump, then I have no evidence to go forward. That's why they just warned me, if I start demolishing the house, they're not gonna tell me I can't.
That's what photos and videos.
Right, and I've got thousands of photos, and I've already submitted that to them. You know, and they say, no, we don't agree with that. Now what am I gonna do? I got a picture, they've already seen it, and say, no, we don't think that's right. That doesn't look like a Schwinn bicycle, that looks like a Huffy.
I think we beat
Because,
this
yeah,
topic to death, I think.
Yeah,
we
I can have
need to come up with.
stuff in writing for you.
Yeah,
I can get letters
Here we
from
go.
the adjuster, et cetera.
So I'm ready to do the motion.
Yeah, I will be glad to take care of this one. Thank you. In case number 24-2353, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 11305 East Queensway Drive, applicable code section 10-4, subsection B, subsection 4, subsection A, nuisance building 90 days. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from code enforcement officer and other witnesses, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violation will be corrected on or before March 12th, 2025. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine to be $25 per day.
I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Um,
Any further discussion?
I want to, I want to hire $50 per day.
I'm happy to amend.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there, well,
I know it's because we gave him almost a year.
Mhm.
You're talking in May, it's going to be almost a year. And have not seen, so I want to, if it would have been 25 a year ago. And I would have been happy to renew every time he comes in and tell us the story. But it's been a year and no action has been done. So that's why I wanted the fine to be
You
higher
want
per
to
day.
punish me for being a victim of the
All right.
fence.
Well-
We're in deliberation, sir.
I'm not
I'll
punishing
go ahead
you.
and restate my motion then. In case number 24-2353, I move that the city is proven by a greater weight of the evidence that the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 11305 East Queensway Drive. Applicable section code 10-4 subsection B subsection 4 subsection A nuisance buildings 90 days. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer and other witnesses, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before March 12, 2025. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine to be $50 per day.
a motion, do we have a second?
Re-second.
All right, any further discussion? All right. Take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? No nays? All right. So, you can come back, you can ask for a further extension if it turns out that, I guess you're saying the insurance company is,
Well,
if they don't comply with,
It doesn't, even if it does, I mean, the idea that you're gonna.
Nah.
Well, assuming that they approve it tomorrow, yes,
right.
then.
You really should.
Yeah, could you just so we can have it on the record?
It's just, 30, well, that's fine, I'm not gonna argue anymore, I'm too tired to do it. 30 days to hire a contractor and work it to their schedule and see if they can show up and then get the work done in 30 days is ridiculous. Right now with permitting and such, I don't even know, how fast can you get a permit like that? And then hire a company that's competent to do it.
It's not just work,
I'm
it's
not-
progress.
I'm not disagreeing.
No, that's, you're saying that I'm gonna be fined if it's not complete. That's
No.
what you just
No,
voted on.
No, that's not the case.
That is
What?
not what it said.
I'm not disagreeing.
What I heard.
I'm not disagreeing
Explain
with,
it to him, Bill.
we just need to see progress, and if you come back in 30, or
I'll be happy to
whatever it is,
see the
28 days, and show some progress, or give us an explanation about why there was no progress, that,
Yes.
then we'll give you, we can further extend, I'm not saying we will, but we can further
All right.
extend,
All right,
okay?
I'll
So,
calm down, I'm sorry, I'm tired, I'm aggravated, I don't feel.
well, this has been a long day, a long meeting, for sure. Sorry you had to, I really apologize for the fact you had to sit through all these tree violations are difficult, to say the least. So,
All right, well, anyway, Mr. Mueller can testify, he did look at the check, and I don't even have a copy, I don't have the actual check. I just got a photocopy that they sent me, that they have sent it. The previous adjuster had said, he had it in the file that he'd sent me 2 checks, and they could never find any even a request for the checks. He just faked the
so, yeah, please come back in 30 days.
Yeah,
Assuming
oh, I'll
that
be
the-
back,
the-
trust
the
me.
Demolition is not gonna be done. Hopefully, the meeting won't run 3 hours the next time. So.
And also, you know, as Bill mentioned, we're not trying to get at you, sir. We want to see progress. We're very, very, you know, we understand how the insurance works and how they, you know, they try to cut corners and not do you, and, you know, but if you show Mr. Tom Baroni progress, a little progress, that's what really, and you could take it another 3 months, 4 months, you know, I cannot guarantee that, as Bill said, but we're not gonna be against you or against, you know, your.
It's not our goal. I mean, look at, it's been a year. Our goal is not to
I know it.
fine or we're all homeowners in this community and we don't, that's not our goal here. Our goal is to, let's get things moving. And
I wish you could do something with State Farm.
fair enough.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to have to excuse myself, but I've been assured that even in my absence, you'll still have a quorum.
Yes, we will.
So I apologize, but I am
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
have to move.
Okay.
Apologize.
All right, so let's move then. Let's move to the next case. We only have a couple cases left. So
Only a
I
few.
think we only have 2 left. I think. I hope.
Yes, next case is case number 24-4712, City versus Antoinette L. Anderson for the property located at 13106 North 52nd Street. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of section 12-768A2, tree removal standards grand. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This tree case this evening is an irreparable, irreversible violation that originated by Temple Terrace arborist Joe Ferris on November 25th, 2024. Mr. Ferris requested a notice of violation be prepared with a notice of hearing for the removal of one protected oak tree without the permission from the city. That same day, Officer Smith prepared a notice of violation and hand-delivered to Chris Mason to obtain service. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by me on November 27th, 2024. It shows the tree debris that was at the curbside of the tree that was removed.
You may submit.
This violation here, the property owner has an arborist letter, but at the time of the tree removal, and when she met with Mr. Ferris, he can elaborate, she didn't have the letter in hand. So by law, you're supposed to have the letter prior to the removal of the tree. So Mr. Ferris will elaborate on that. And of course, this tree was not caused from the damage of the hurricane. And Joe is here tonight to elaborate on the violation.
Any questions for Code Director? Okay, thank you.
Joe Ferris, City Arborist. So as Tom explained, I was notified that this tree had been removed. A little back history to it, in mid-August or so, I had been contacted by a tree service, asked to evaluate the tree because the homeowner wanted to remove the tree. Went out and evaluated the tree, found it to be a healthy live oak, roughly about 28 inches in DBH, making it a grand. So I denied the removal of the tree. Didn't see a reason that it needed to be, at least not in the fact that it had any threat to the property or anybody on the property. Once I was notified that this tree had then been removed, our assistant in community development had a contact for the homeowner. So she had emailed the homeowner to let her know that we were notified this tree had been removed, to find out if they had gotten approval or a permit. The homeowner responded back saying they always get permits whenever they do work on their property. Our assistant then responded back stating that there was no permit in the on file that had been issued. Asking then if they had an arborist letter. The homeowner responded back stating that they will get one. Then our assistant responded back that that was considered an after-effect permit. So part of the changes that happened a few years back with this statute was that it states that a homeowner should possess the documentation. It used to be obtain, now it's changed to possessing the documentation, which means that they should have that in hand at the time the tree is. That essentially takes the place of any municipality asking or requiring permits for removal. I haven't spoke with the homeowner. They've never reached out to talk to me. The communication had been through our assistant in community development by email to the homeowner. So that's where we're at now.
So would the city be expecting, does the mitigation part apply
Yeah, I
to
mean,
this
she could mitigate by planting another canopy tree somewhere on the property, but she has yet to reach out to me to even inquire what to do as far as any mitigation or where she stands with.
Do we have a rough cost of what that mitigation tree might be?
If you look at, you know, the 3-inch minimum, probably a few $100s, you know, with the cost of tree being planted, delivered, planted, all that, you know, it could be $500-600.
that you haven't had any discussion with?
But I've had no discussion. She hasn't reached out at all to me since the notice of violation has been posted.
Okay, so I'm a little confused on the mitigation part too, just because the residential properties, if she had had the arborist letter in advance, she could have taken the tree down and there was nothing.
And that we wouldn't have done anything.
city couldn't-
If she had that and could have, when we reached out to her,
Yeah.
said, I have the letter, I'll send it to you, and we received it, then that's it. That supersedes anything the city or any other municipality can do. But the fact that she didn't have that in possession at the time means there was that sort of an after effect then. You don't go obtain it after you remove the tree, you know.
So that's why I'm saying, is there really even a mitigation option? I mean, it's kind of like.
In a residential lot, I usually require a 1-for-1 replacement because you're limited on space. It's not like a commercial property where, you know, the site was developed requiring those trees to be there. So residential, if it's a healthy tree, I've always required just a 1-for-1. Again, if I went by the DBH, it would have, you know, 28 trees, that doubles in size to 40. There's 56 inches divided by 3. So, I mean, there's no way you'd plant that many trees on the property.
But this is considered repairable and.
Irreversible?
Yeah, it's still considered, yes.
And they're not, no respondent.
No, they have not reached, the homeowner has not reached out to me at all.
It's gonna be tough on you, Brian.
Any further?
Me as the Lorax, right?
You're the guy. So any.
But as far as mitigation, that would be just between the homeowner and myself. That wouldn't
Right.
really apply to the fine
Fine.
of that, your decision on the fine.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said. We're not really involved in the mitigation
No,
process. We're
no.
just here to assess a fine.
Yeah.
Or potentially assess a fine.
And the fine is up to 5,000.
Up to,
And it was one tree that
It
we're
was
talking?
one grand live oak.
big one though.
Yeah,
A big healthy one.
big healthy one, yes.
There are the residents still, this is an occupied residence.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, any other questions? Mr. Ferris, okay, all right, so I'm looking for a fine.
Here we go, all right, me and the Lorax will go. In case number, and this is 24-4712, I move the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code exist on the property located at 13106 North 52nd Street, applicable codes 12-768, subsection A, subsection 2. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from code enforcement officers, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the violation is irreparable and irreversible as defined by City Code Section 163. Therefore, I move that a fine of $750 be imposed for each violation.
Second.
Motion, we have a second.
And I just want to say $750, we've done $250 for the others. However, all the others have shown evidence of progression and moving forward. And it was, whether it was lack of intention or whatever, they've tried to repair what they've done. And this, there's been no contact.
Yeah, the thing is, Brian, I'm now just, sorry, yeah, I did second it, you know.
Yep, well, discussion.
But we're doing discussion.
Yeah, that's why we're in discussion. I would like it a little bit lower. I'll tell you the reason why. She did obtain an arborist letter.
But it's after.
I know this after the fact. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's.
I don't trust that, honestly.
Yeah, it's,
I guess I
if it's, I probably, you know, I meet you like halfway.
I would go higher. If it was me, I would go higher.
You wanna go higher?
I'm willing to go to 625, but I'm not gonna go lower. I don't, cause I wanted to go higher too, and I thought the board would reject that.
Yeah.
And that's because.
I have no problem with the 750, but, you know, it just, maybe it's, Ferris, Mr. Ferris, the letter that came from arborist telling us it was a sick tree.
But it
was
was,
too late.
but it's not.
I've not seen the
But
letter
it
yet.
wasn't.
Oh, you have not seen the letter?
She had mentioned in the email that she would obtain a letter.
Oh, she has not obtained,
But
oh, I thought.
I've
I
not
was-
spoken with the homeowner. She's not reached out to me. I don't know that she has a letter. If she has, she hasn't tried to present
I
it
must
to
have
us.
misunderstood you, because I thought she showed you the letter
No,
afterwards.
No, I haven't even spoken to her.
Oh,
This
okay.
was just a series of email
Just trying to
communication
give her
with
the
her
benefit.
assistant.
Plus, it was a live, healthy tree. I mean, it was a
Well,
large,
Yeah, according to what
So-
he thought at the beginning.
Based on, yes, my evaluation of it in August, it was.
yeah, so
Trees could
I
die
think
quickly.
750 is
I
getting
appreciate
off
what you're
cheap.
trying to do, Rod.
Well-
I really do.
Well, well, I'll stick with my second on your
Okay.
first
And I'll
number.
second you, Rob.
Yeah?
I think it's a fair.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair
Yeah.
penalty, honestly.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll stick with the 750.
okay.
All right.
I agree with it. That's
All right.
good discussion.
So I think we're ready to take a vote, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
No nays.
No nays? Okay, so
Next case.
next case.
Case is case number 24-4802, City versus Jamie Lara for the property located at 309 Deer Park Avenue. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 12-8592, RVs, boats, and trailers, Section 12-921, parking residential property, and Section 10-34, sanitation premises clean. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Vice Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on December 11th, 2024 for yard parking, a utility trailer in the front yard, and assorted items in the front yard. I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of December 19th, 2024. My reinspection on January 6th showed no change, so I generated a notice of violation on that date with a reinspection date of January 16th, 2025. I posted the notice at the site as well as at City Hall for the 10-day requirement on the electronic board, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on January 17th showed no change, so I prepared a notice of hearing on that date, and the case was scheduled for the February Municipal Code Board meeting. This time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by myself on January 6th and January 30th, 2025. Exhibit 1 will show the notice of violation posting. Exhibit number 2 shows the yard parking. And I would also like to submit an affidavit of compliance as the site is in compliance and I'm seeking a finding.
So all three violations are in
Yes, sir.
compliance.
That's pretty nice to hear after all that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a relief.
Relief.
We got one more
So, any further questions for for Officer Allen? Nope.
Looking for a motion.
All right, so we're looking for a motion then,
All
so,
right, I got this one.
all right.
All right, in case number 24-4802, I move that the city has proven by greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 309 Deer Park Avenue. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation of all which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there is no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. No nays. Motion passes. Next case, please.
Police out there?
Next case is case number 24-4951, City versus Jose L. Gonzalez Pupo and Gonzalo T. Gonzalez Fernandez for the property located at 6619 Baybrook Circle. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 12-768A1, tree unlawful removal. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notion of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
I promise this is the last tree case.
Oh, for the year, maybe?
I did warn you last month. I said that we have 5 cases going to about trees.
Thought it was
So,
4.
Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. I know how many times I've been up here. This tree case that I'm presenting this evening is an irreversible violation that originated on December 31st, 2024, when the city arborist observed an unlawful tree removal that day. Later that day, I did receive an email from Mr. Ferris showing the 2 photos of the cut-down tree and the measurements of the trees. On January 2nd, 2025, I prepared a notice of violation, notice of hearing for the unauthorized removal of the grand oak tree, and hand-delivered the notice letter to Mr. Jose Gonzalez to obtain service. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by Joe Ferris on December 31st, 2024. Exhibit number 1 and 2 shows the stump of a 36-inch DBH Grand Live Oak. I'd like to present at this time.
You may submit.
Oh, it's a big one.
So this tree was taken down 2 weeks after the solar panels were installed on the front of the house. So I think the canopy of the tree
Was an issue.
caused an issue with the owner. But he stated to me that the root system was very close to the foundation. And I asked him if he had an engineer's report to state that the root system was damaging the structure, and he did not have it. This tree was taken down not from anything to do with the hurricane. And Joe Ferris is here tonight to elaborate on the removal of his observation of the removal of the tree. Do you have any
Any other
questions for me?
for Director Baroni?
Yes, it does look like it's very close to the foundation, though.
Yes, it
But
does.
you did not see any evidence of a damage on the walls or
No,
on the kind of.
I did not see,
Yeah, I
cracks or
looked
anything?
closely, but, you know,
I'd say it's about 4 feet away.
4 feet is enough for
Yeah.
the tree. Well, we'll ask Mr. Ferris.
Plus, they have to have you said an engineering report to
I
validate.
asked him if he had one, and he doesn't have one. But that's what the property owner stated, that the root system was causing
That
damage.
picture we saw on the screen before,
Yeah.
where is that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the whole
You
question.
know, there is a picture of the tree, actually looked healthy tree.
You want to see that?
Yeah, but it's not included in the.
Yeah, I do have a picture of that on the computer.
Well, yeah, if you can put it up again, just, you know,
Yeah, it's a nice tree.
very nice tree.
So this was an aerial view that Joe took of the full tree.
Prior to their,
Yes.
okay.
Brian, can you bring that up? There it is.
Yeah,
I'll try.
No, Brian Hill.
Beautiful tree.
Okay?
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like
you're the tree guy, but there's certain limits on what your
Right.
powers.
that tree kept the house cooler better than the solar. Oh, I'm serious. That's my comment.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tree the.
Back. Joe Ferris, City Arborist.
We've gotten to
So
know you
as
quite well.
Tom had said, on the 31st, I was, had an appointment scheduled for a neighbor 2 houses to the west of this property. As I drove up, found the tree service cleaning up and the evidence of a large stump that was removed. Spoke to the tree service. They went in to get the homeowner from the house who came out and had someone on his phone to interpretate for him. He didn't speak clear English. As the person on the phone explained, the homeowner had concern that it was damaging the house, and then also explained they just had solar put on, which was not just the front, it's hard to tell in the picture, but it also had on the west side, because the tree was on the west side of the house. I did ask if they had gotten a structural engineer to do a report on the house. When I get calls on trees where homeowners have concern that the tree may be affecting the house, I'm not a structural engineer. I don't know any arborists that are, who can state for 100% certainty that a tree is or is not damaging the house. So I ask for the homeowner to hire a structural engineer who will do a report and sign and seal it. If they can show that the damage that they feel is happening to the house is from the tree, then that will allow me to issue them a permit for the removal.
Or any pipes in the ground or anything.
Yeah, anything that's damaging
Plumbing
the
or
structure of the home, yes. Because our trees are protected, especially when you get to a grand size. And even looking at that, like you said, that was cooling that house. Not only theirs, probably the neighbors to the west of them got some positive impact by that tree. So no structural report was done, so there's no way of knowing for sure, 100% certainty, that that tree was damaging the house. I don't believe the homeowner,
Did you take a look at the house, and?
just on the
Or any
outside, I didn't see any
cracks or-
anywhere. I didn't go into the home. Again, even if I saw it, I don't know, I can't say for 100% certainty that is. And we're talking about a big grand tree. The homeowner, I think, is relatively, as you talk to him, a newer homeowner. I don't think he realized that there is a process, that you have
Cutting
to
the
have
tree.
approval for trees and removal. So that's where we're at.
And he could not be here tonight, too.
When I spoke to him, I explained to him February 12th.
Mike, somebody's Mike.
Mr. Tom.
Sorry about that. When I spoke to him and met with him, I did advise him there would be a hearing February 12th for him to show up.
And he understood you, though.
Yeah. And that was almost 2 months ago. So hopefully he didn't forget, but it seems pretty important to me.
David forgot, I don't know. Anyway, so there's no mitigation.
Again, it would be, if he is willing to replant, then we can take that in consideration.
That'd be
But I haven't spoke to him yet.
that'd be a lot to replant though. That tree would,
But again, you consider that size, if we go by the code, which is really focused on development.
Yeah.
And if we went by the mitigation that size, it'd be an astronomical amount of trees that you'd never be able to put on the property. So again, when it's a situation like that, I usually focus on, replanting at least one canopy tree.
yeah.
Unfortunately, if you plant a live oak, it's probably gonna take 60 years for it to get there, and hopefully I'd be retired by the point it got to that big.
Hopefully.
I have a question probably you've
Hopefully
been
soon.
asked before. I have a quick question.
Sure.
Been asked before. If they approached you to remove this grand oak, beautiful, whatever, the tree, to install the solar, is that possible? Or would you, because I know electric bills are high, and sometimes, it
As
puts a
of
hardship on the residents.
Yeah, as
And
of right,
remove, yeah.
as of right now, our code doesn't address solar and the removal of trees to accommodate solar. So I would have said no, that you can't remove it for the solar. They did take advantage of the front of the house. I would question, is that enough to achieve what you needed? Because the house faces the south. That front of the house was the south. The small peak of the roof was on the west side. The majority of the solar is on the south. My question would have been to the solar company, is that enough to achieve what they were looking for without having to
I don't
remove
know
the
if
tree?
anyone else has solar, but I do, and they do a satellite view of the house, and they tell you, this is where we can put panels with things as they are now. And this is where you're gonna get the most benefit.
Usually.
So you can, I don't wanna speculate, but okay, hey, yeah, you can put them here, but there's a tree there,
Yeah, they
Either way.
survey the site, and if you have a lot of trees, they might not even approach you or want to deal with you.
I can tell you that's what they did with me.
Yeah.
So,
So, did you have something?
I'll wait till everybody's done, then I'd like to say something.
Yeah, so they didn't even, in this case, they didn't even attempt to have an arborist say that this was a diseased tree that was endangered. Yeah, I mean, that would have been ridiculous, obviously.
Sounds
But
like
not that they couldn't have, because, I mean, as previous cases we've seen where people will just, an arborist can, or a tree service person can sign, well, they can come up with anything that they want to, basically, based on the state law, unfortunately, so. All right, so.
I'm done.
Yeah, just real quick, just a caution. There were some statements made up here that could come close to testimony. I want to make sure that if, whenever you make your decision, you base it on the evidence that's been presented by the people down here. I'd hate for any decision to be based on something that was set up on the dais.
Okay.
No, it's just.
Okay, all right. So any further questions for Mr. Ferris? All right. Thanks.
I think I'll let another Lorax take this one.
All right, so do we have another volunteer?
I can do that. In case number 244951, I move that the city has proven that by the greater weight of evidence, the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 6619 Baybrook Circle with the applicable codes section violation 12-768 subsection A subsection 1 unlawful tree removal. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer and the arborist of the City of Temple Terrace, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the violation is irreparable and irreversible as defined by the City Code Section 1-63. Therefore, I move that the fine be $1,000 be imposed for each violation. Thank you.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so now we're open for discussion.
Why, I just wonder why 1,000 over more? Or over less, I should say, because we had 750.
750 was our.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm setting a precedent, I'm just saying I want.
Each case is different. I look at it differently. We have prior picture. That's why I wanted to see the picture. It's a beautiful tree. And I don't want to sound like, this was very, very intentional removed without having to ask or go through, even the removal company, I believe, I don't know if it's removed, the tree is removed by the homeowner or they hired a company. And it was found out by incidents, like he did not look for it and he was not notified of it. If he was there at the right time to discover this. So I wanted to, I did not want to put the 5,000, to be honest with you.
No,
I was going to take it to the max because, and on top of that, we're not shown any response. I can see maybe it could be, I don't know, I can excuse the homeowner of not being here. They got ample, communication. They got ample, they gave them the formal, they have a letter, they have, all these processes that the city goes through of notifying the homeowner for them to show up and be here was done. And we did not hear from them or,
Well, I'm okay with it, honestly, because the photo showed what appeared to be a really healthy tree.
Well, yeah, you can judge the picture, but anyway, it was not done proper side, and I think 1,000 it's almost what is it 1/5 of the maximum, So I think it's gonna be fair in my opinion.
I'll stand by my second. I'll stand by.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so we're ready to take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? No nays? All right. Are we done with all the
That's the last of the new cases.
new cases?
Just for the unfinished cases, case number 24-2400, City versus Michael S. and Christy Zimmerman for the property located at 8201 Broward Place. The deadline for compliance was February 12th, 2025. A fine of $25 per day begins on February 13th, 2025. Case number 24-3131, City versus Terrace Oaks HOA Incorporated, care of West Coast Management and Realty Incorporated for the property located at 10325 Council's Way. The case came into compliance on February 11th, 2025. And case 24-3231, City versus Alex Joseph Marcel for the property located at 5202 Blaine Drive. The deadline for compliance was February 12th, 2025. A fine of $25 per day begins on February 13th, 2025.
All right.
No, we gotta wait. You've lost quorum.
We don't have quorum.
Oh, okay.
So we can vote on,
He's coming back though, right?
yeah, yeah.
We had to make it.
Oh, so we're stuck here.
Yeah,
You
him
gonna
and I
order
had to go to the, sorry.
Is the city gonna order us food?
No, perhaps Mr. Gomez.
All right.
So just to elaborate, Dave did text me. He apologized for not being here tonight. He made a mistake, and he'll promise he'll be here next month. So he just said, "Tell Bill I'll be there next month." And I said, "Okay."
That's why I made the comment.
I know.
Did he forget?
Dave forgot. That's apparently
Oh,
got the wrong.
Because Bill came in, he looked at the name, he was like, "Oh, I guess I am sitting here today."
I'm just glad Bill was here.
Otherwise, it would have been me.
I'm not
and-
sure Bill. I'm not sure Bill's glad he was here, but it was no. We got through it. It was, I
I
just
don't think we could have had.
dreading the fire.
Well, if Taylor was still here.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got a good taste of tree cases
Yes, more than
Yeah, and
Each one is unique.
that's why we kind of put them all together.
Yeah.
We kind of put them all together this evening, so this way the testimony and Joe Ferris being here.
Yep.
That's why we made it all tonight, so.
We cannot leave till you get back.
We lost quorum.
We lost quorum. All right.
Other board action? No?
Other board actions? No, I don't think we have any other board actions. No liens report. Any new business other than the you
No,
took?
4 of the cases that were presented by me tonight were Lori Smith's cases. She's out sick with the flu. And I don't know if anybody heard, but the flu has affected City Hall. Almost 60% of the employees here were out sick.
Wow.
Yeah, so the flu is going around, so
So
wash your
work from
hands,
home
make sure
is
you
what
wash your
I heard.
hands.
I shouldn't have been breathing.
When you go home tonight, make sure you wash your hands.
We've been washing our hands.
We did wipe everything down, and so just so you know that, and
Oh, okay.
so thank you for,
That's why they had a deep clean for the fitness center tonight.
yes,
It was the fitness center's closed tonight,
Yes.
so that's why they did.
yes. So all city facilities are being a deep.
I'm glad they went back to the original name of flu, not COVID.
All right. So
Motion,
On
I
that
think
note,
I think we're at the point where we can do a motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
second.
Do we need to vote on that? No.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
We're leaving.
No nays? We're done.
Oh.
Thanks.